Alright, on that note, I think we are ready to go. Shing is already in chat, wondering where the Pedorus are at, and unfortunately we don't have a Christmas outfit for Nero in here, but I did mistakenly put her in a bathing suit between recordings, which I did not mean to do. So, yeah, I went to start this scene, and I realized that Nero was in a bathing suit, and I don't know how that happened. I sincerely apologize. I didn't do it on purpose. I swear. I don't even remember playing this, like, grinding off screen. I must have just gone into her closet to see what outfits were unlocked and which ones I had to download because of data transfer from different PS4s and all that. But, yep, she's in a bathing suit. So we're continuing the Flame Poem arc on schedule, and I hope I can get through a good bit of this tonight and I don't get super burned out. Because I would like to get through the rest of this entire route tonight, and maybe even do some more tomorrow if I'm feeling ambitious enough. But Archimedes has come to report that we have officially conquered 80% of Seraph, which means that we have pushed back Tamamo's forces and regained our stronghold over Seraph, which is good. Obviously, he says, hey, that's not good enough. We need to go get all of it. So, yeah, there she is. Total break in the continuity there. But, I mean, do you expect any less from Nero? I mean, if she was allowed to, if this game didn't have a teen rating, I'm surprised she would... I wouldn't be surprised if she would just walk out here completely naked. But what's funny as well is I was thinking about the fact that this game has a teen rating, and I was like, you know, that's actually kind of remarkable, because I'm pretty sure only the Extraverse games have a teen rating. Like, everything else for Fate is pretty much like NC-17 or above. And I mean, there's a lot of foul language later in this game and a lot of fan service, not to mention some like kind of morbid descriptions of things, like not nearly as bad as like the main Fate Night visual novel, but yeah, I'm honestly kind of surprised that this has a teen rating. Yeah, as Nero just describes burning that Hellspawn fox alive, so... Yes, the sword is called Gallatin, not Excalibur Gallatin. I can't freaking stand how Grand Order has, like, caused people to say that. Okay, we're gonna change her outfit really quick again. Also, this is an unlockable outfit that we will most likely put on her later. Things like, that's less swimsuit and more lingerie. I guess so. Yeah, because it has like lace on it, but we're gonna go with default for now because we need story continuity to remain intact for a little bit at least. Now is also a good opportunity to go with our bond conversation with her, I believe. I don't know which one is the correct one, so let's just go for it. Yeah, drink some water before I start reading the script again. Shing is asking, does your wife know you're playing Victoria's Secret with Nero? She loves it as much as I do. She loves Nero as well, so... anyway. I'm not pushing myself. I've been nervous sometimes, even scared, but then I remember how much we've already accomplished to come this far. It wouldn't be proper to call it fun, but that's how it feels sometimes. That's not bravado at all. When I'm alongside Saber, everything feels effortless. Being right there with her is just my nature. My head may not remember everything from before, but my body certainly does. That sounds terrible. Well, technically, I'm just a mind right now, but that aside... Another conversation. Maybe that one. I do? We need to take care of that. If Hakuno Kishinami isn't with Saber 100%, she won't be able to bring out her full strength. So she needs my support. I'll make it as clear as I can that I stand by her all the way. When she knows that, she can push aside all her doubts. So somebody actually, a loyal commenter who I don't think is actually somebody from the cosplay group. I think it's actually someone who literally just found my videos and started following me, which is pretty cool. But they've been watching all of the Type Moon videos, and they mentioned an interesting thing about Extella that was kind of lost in translation a little bit. So as much as I stick up for the localization of this game and defend how the script is really well written, this person, who, if I can remember your name, I'll mention it on the YouTube upload version of this, but they were mentioning how there's actually a canon reason for why. So I was talking about how people have kind of like dogged on the fan service in this game and called it kind of misogynistic and kind of over the top, and I mean, I guess there's some truth to that, but they were saying that, you know, in the context of this game, Hakuno and Nero have already won the Grail War from Fate Extra and already have an established relationship. But even further than that, because Hakuno is split into 3 people, her the mind part of her, that is the red Hakuno that's with Nero, is much more confident and much more passionate and much more abrasive, and so she kind of reciprocates a lot of Nero's affection, which catches Nero off guard, which is kind of the reason for a lot of Nero's responses in their dialogue, which I find to be interesting. I actually that may have been something that either I didn't pay enough attention to or was just not carried through into the translation very well, but evidently there is a intentional decision to characterize the 3 different Hakunos in different ways throughout the 3 routes. So like they behave differently, and it's on purpose. Even though we're technically playing as the same protagonist, red Hakuno might act differently than blue Hakuno, and so on. Shayna's also here, saying she needs to pick up Extella again for her dear Nero. Well, I mean, you need to get to the actual best girl in this game, which is actually Altera. So you need to get through and see just how incredible she is. So this chapter right here, we're actually invading Tamamo's domain and taking the fight directly to her. Notice this is happening roughly like halfway through the Flame Poem arc. And that's because there's a whole nother adversary we have to face after this, of course. And but this chapter is very tricky as well. So there's a couple of Nero is swooning again. But this chapter introduces like some alternate objectives and alternate obstacles that came into play. So the last one, we had to fight like superpowered servants and defeat a certain objective in order to power them back down. This one has like sectors that you can't escape from until you defeat the boss servant involved, which will be easy for us playing as Nero. But if we have to go through this again as a different character that's not high enough level, oh boy, will that be... That will be a thing. I like how Tamamo's model there has a more mischievous look on her face than her portrait does. Like, she's kind of like, has her head tilted down in shadow. I'll only give you 20 years in prison. I guess that is a relatively minor punishment by Roman standards, right? Well, then why haven't you done it by now? I mean, we've backed you into a corner, and then you're like, oh yeah, I could totally just topple your empire in an instant. Then why haven't you done it already? We also have Metal Skull Greymon joining us, who says bonjour. Bonjour to you as well. One thing that's interesting as well is I was listening to the actual CD soundtrack of Extella today, which is amazing if those of you who have not heard it, because it's like the uncut versions of the tracks that don't loop repetitively, like they do in the game. They're actually structured to have like a first, second, and third verse kind of structure, I guess is what you call it. I'm not super savvy on music terminology, but they're actually like the uncut versions of the tracks that are not like meant to loop for the video game. And one thing that's interesting about that is this track right here is a remix of Tamamo's original theme from Extra, which makes sense. But Nero's original theme from Extra that's remixed in the Extella soundtrack is completely missing from the CD version of the soundtrack, which is not a terrible loss considering that that's such an amazingly good soundtrack, but it is noticeable. It's a little strange. Alright, so immediately now we're getting back into the gameplay. As soon as we transition to this sector here, we're trapped in. We've got to fight Elizabeth Bathory again, who has changed into the sweater, as we saw at the end of the last chapter, for absolutely no discernible reason. And we also have a poison sector trap here, which we'll have to start dodging. I mentioned before how if we're lucky, we will hopefully only have 1 or 2 elements of sector traps in each given map on the hardest difficulty here, which means that the equipment I have right now is pretty ideal. All right, we'll go ahead and block the poison. There we go. That's the move I wanted to use. The heck is that? Oh, it's an Iron Maiden. Are Iron Maidens associated with the Legend of Elizabeth Bathory, or is that like a historical exaggeration kind of thing? Oh, I got one of the sake and bento box combos, which gives me a full refill on everything, which is pretty busted. I don't think I'm even going to use all of my gauge here because I might need that soon. But yeah, this is a... Like I said, this could be a particularly challenging map for new players because it introduces new gimmicks. In addition to being locked in the what they call Servant Slammer here until we defeat the enemy servant, is also some new aggressor types, like this big guy over here. So he has a very specific movement pattern that we have to avoid, but he's pretty easy to deal with, unlike those stupid sword guys later on. And God forbid when we get to the... Oh, she's actually kicking our ass here. Had to quickly heal to not have to use one of my command seals. I'm just waiting for her Moondrive gauge to go down, which it has. Damn it. Quit you blocking. Okay, we got her. Alright, let me go after that big guy as well. If I can find him. Where'd he go? There he is. So, there's a couple of... Luckily, Nero has pretty good airborne combos and can get in good hits before he starts to swing around. But all of the aggressors telegraph their attacks with red flashes, which does make it a little bit easier to avoid. But, not every character has the ability to get in good damage on these guys before they counterattack. Tamamo, in specific, has a very hard time getting a decent amount of hits in with these guys. It might be a good opportunity to use the Extella maneuver just to, like, get that concentrated damage on the same enemy. That should be a good hit. Yeah, there's large aggressors like that a little bit later, a couple more chapters in, that are basically like just giant giant knives on legs, and they're horrible. I hate them. The other thing here with this chapter is that we will secede territory to Tamamo's team here, which is unfortunate, but we can render that redundant because we're of the quantity of servants we're fighting, and the fact that a lot of her territories are worth large amounts of points in and of themselves. So here we have Karna, which is going to pose much more of a challenge than Elizabeth Bathory did. And Karna, from a lore standpoint, is like head and shoulders above all the rest of Tamamo's team, since he's like a literal demigod. And, you know, he kind of overcompensates for how the rest of Tamamo's team is kind of... I wouldn't say Tamamo's team is lackluster inherently. They just don't play well with each other. Oh, that's going to hurt. In Extella in specific, Karna is very slow and has a lot of very slow-moving physical attacks. So he's not the easiest to use. I'm trying to figure out what type this Cipher Trap is. Poison, okay. Waiting for his Moondrive gauge to go down so I can actually attack him again. We may... Oh, that's not good at all. Man, that's like the one thing you have to worry about is when they're powered up with Moondrive, they just literally hand you your ass. If I get my Moondrive, I'll use it here because I really just want to be done with this. Actually, he doesn't have that much health left. That should take out the aggressors too. Yeah, that Blade Beam attack thing deals with aggressors really easily. He didn't counter there, which is good. He got a good AoE attack on... Oh my god! No more, Karna! I don't want to deal with you anymore. You may be a fluffy birdie, but you're not a nice fluffy birdie right now. Metal Skull Greymon says, yes, Iron Maidens are associated with her because they're associated with the Legend of Carmella. I was under the impression, maybe this is not correct, that like Iron Maidens were kind of a myth, like they weren't actually used for what we think they were used for. I mean, we have obviously like historical evidence of them being real thanks to like museums and stuff, but some people think they were just for show. But I could be wrong. I'm not extremely informed on that. Devin is here. He's like, I come into the stream and just talk about Iron Maidens. And we can talk about Iron Maidens and not even have to play Resident Evil 4. That's what I think of every time I think about Iron Maidens. Alright, I think there's one more servant we can take on. I'm actually going to go here. Okay, maybe not. There's one more servant that Tamamo has deployed on the battlefield, and if I take them out, I think it will sway the, maybe I'm thinking of when we come over here in a different route and we have to fight, I don't know, we'll figure it out. There's also a bunch of plants spawning in now. I'll go with the sector that's worth the most amount of points. That's what I'm gonna do. This one is a little bit irritating though, because some of the sectors tend to spawn they tend to be very like spread out, and so trying to get all of the attack programs to spawn in like one small designated area is a little bit more difficult. So like I may kill all of the attack programs to spawn in the aggressors right here, and then they might just spawn in somewhere random. I'm just going to let the AoE attack go off here. I also have to block an ice sector trap here, which I am luckily very prepared for. It seems like ice and poison are the most common. This piece of equipment also allows me to block electric, but I don't know if we'll ever run into that. I haven't seen one of those yet. We do have to act fast, though, because if I don't, I could actually just lose this, because we are... That danger icon up there means we are within risk of losing our entire... losing our regime matrix, which actually we just lost another commander, so we could be in extremely close danger of that, actually. Alright, there's 2 more aggressors. Let's see where they spawned. I won't lie, Tamamo might walk with this if we're not careful. That would be really bad, and actually really amateur of me if I'm being honest. Okay, we got 4 points back on the regime matrix. Let me go over here. Okay, that definitely evened the odds a lot. Let me go over here, because this one has a plant, it has a Cipher Key for the Noble Phantasm, and it's worth 3 points, so... Right off the bat, poison sector trap as well. Where's the plant? There we go. There we go, that's what I wanted to do. Oh, June is here. Hello, June. He's saying he needs to get this game again, which is 100% true, because you get to play as your boy Alicia Wen. One of the things that I'm definitely taking for granted right now is the fact that, like, Nero is such an extremely high level that the raw damage I'm dealing to these aggressors is just ridiculous. Right, she's at level like 55 right now, whereas I'm not seeing this other aggressor. Tamamo and Altera are around level like 34, which means that when I get to the route where I have to play as them, I may actually have to kind of put some time into grinding a little bit, which is kind of sad. Okay, so like I said, we can take one more sector, but there's a chance that we may lose territory to Tamamo here in the process, so that kind of makes this chapter drag out a little bit more. But I'll try to prevent that from happening as much as possible. I also need to find the Final Cipher Key, which may or may not be in this sector. We'll find out. I don't see it anywhere else on the map, so maybe it is here. We just need one more to spawn in. I still don't see the third Cipher Key thing. I don't know where it is. Maybe when I complete the nice thing is when I complete the regime matrix on a map like this. Oh, I guessed that just in time. So we actually have to go through a portal to get to Tamamo, whereas most of the other maps, the boss servant just simply spawns in. So we have an opportunity to... Sure enough, like I said, we lost territory, so we have to go get that back, which is no big deal. Again, if we just recapture this same sector here in the middle, the first one we took, then we'll be fine. Not what I wanted to do. We're just gonna tap that, let that AoE attack go off. Should kill the 2 aggressors that are spawned in and spawn in all the rest. We are really not at extremely high risk of losing the rest of our territory before we wrap this up, so we should be in good shape here. I don't want to pick up that sake quite yet. Oh, that was pretty good. Knocked out almost all the ones in front of me. We got this big guy to take care of again. Yeah, I'm really taking for granted the amount of raw damage we're dealing to these aggressors, because it will be much harder to defeat them on Tamamo and Altera's route. Tamamo's route, I won't lie, we may be stonewalled and have to level grind a little bit, which I am not looking forward to. Okay, so we completed the regime matrix. I still don't see where the final cipher key is, but you know what? We actually don't really need it, because one of the things you can do when you fight one of the ultimate bosses is you can wait for them to try to cast their Noble Phantasm, and you can just hit them and it'll drop a cipher key and you can just collect it, which is really abusable and quite broken, as a matter of fact. I'm going to look for it really quick. I'm pretty sure I see where it is. Never mind, I won't do it. I may actually just be able to kill Tamamo with the Moon Drive as it is. Shayna says she had Joy-Con drift on the Switch, which, yeah, that's rough. I am very sorry to hear that. Especially because Joy-Cons are so friggin' expensive. But yeah, so here we go. The confrontational battle against Tamamo. And these decisive battles like this in the enemy's main arena... Oh, she actually countered that. Holy crap. They're always in this main arena. You always have to go through a portal. And of course, when she goes into her... when she goes into her Moon Drive form, she has the Regalia, so she'll use the Moon Crux, which is stronger. And as cool as Nero's Moon Crux is, Tamamo's, I think, is actually stronger in terms of raw damage. So I'm going to use my own here, just so I don't get killed by Tamamo, because hers is just so strong. And also, it's pretty cool to have the two of them going at it with their ultimate forms here. I mean, it's like the iconic image on the poster that came with the game, you know, that little cloth banner. Yeah, Tamamo launches like little ice crystals out with hers, and they deal an absolute crap ton of damage. Wow, I've never like air juggled her like that before. It's crazy. Oh no! So she's just transitioning right into it right as we exited ours. So we may take a death here. I'm gonna dump my full Extella maneuver gauge into her right now, but we may take a death here, which is fine because we can revive ourselves with our command seals. I haven't had to use one yet this entire map, which is good. That's another thing we run the risk of doing on the hardest difficulty on some of these maps, is certain things can just one-shot us, and we end up with... Come on, drop it, drop it. We end up, like, getting one or two shot by something and have to burn through our command seals really quickly, which is unfortunate. Okay. Alright, she's transitioned out, and she's going right into her Noble Phantasm. Thankfully, we can just knock the Cipher Key out of our hand and get Cat scratched a little bit there, and then fire off her own Noble Phantasm for the win! That's just such a broken ability that we can just take their Phantasm keys and just use it for ourselves. And I didn't know that the first time I played the game, like on the Japanese Vita version. So I was just taking hits. Oh, she survived that. What the hell? There we go. I had to just take hits from like Altera's Noble Phantasm like over and over again. Let's see what we get in terms of... Okay, bond level increases, which means Nero is almost level 30, so we'll get our trophy for that. We don't really care about the rest of them. I think Artoria has the most amount of bond points out of them. Okay, cool. She gets bond points. Yeah, the ones that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the last stream, the ones that actually have the closest completion in terms of bond level, we need to get 3 servants to bond level 30 to get the trophy for that, because we're going for the platinum trophy. And the ones that we're most likely to get is either Nero, Tamamo, and Altera, and then possibly Karna, because Karna's up there. He's like a level 24 on bond level. And then Artoria, as we see, is like a level 23. So any of those will be potential for that trophy to get. I'm not partial to which ones. I really don't even care. Gonna drink some water and let this cutscene play out. Pretty but dumb. Oh, I skipped a Mekon. I didn't mean to do that. So it looks like Nero may be taking pity on Tamamo here and may not want to finish her off. Heaven or hell, let's rock. Oh, I want to play the new Guilty Gear so bad. Nero's being a brat. I was like, don't take the attention away from me. Yeah, I could do with a new BlazBlue. I feel like BlazBlue hasn't really had that like transformation that Guilty Gear had when Excerpt came out, where it was like, oh my god, this is like a new era, new design, total overhaul kind of thing. And I think BlazBlue deserves that. Juna saying Altera's story had me coming back some tears. Yeah, choking back in some tears. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, when we get to that part in the stream, I may get quiet, and y'all will know what's happening. And honestly, the the true ending, the ending of the fourth route, is what really gets me. Because this is a game that, and this is getting into spoiler territory for those that haven't played it, but this is a game that makes you fully believe that you are not going to get a happy ending. So, I mean, it's fate for once, which really gives you the impression that, yeah, most likely not going to get a happy ending, and then the game really goes so far above and beyond what it had to do to give us that fourth route. So I can steal your ring. I mean, yeah, we are the same person, so. Are you trying to make me unsurrender? I do agree, but it's best to stay calm and find an acceptable compromise. But there's a bigger issue. I can't blame Saber or Caster for not noticing. Under the circumstances, I'd have expected Archimedes to notice at least, but he might be too wrapped up in his work. That mortifying shadow creeping up behind us. Her just flashing her panties at us, of course. Well, again, she's technically correct. As we'll see later in the game, she actually does do some useful things. After she spends like the other 90% of the game being useless, she does like one useful thing. I don't see this going very well for you. All that boasting seems a little awkward now, doesn't it? Well, the problem is you've basically locked us into a bad end here where we're just gonna fade away. Oh, we know what you have planned, Tamamo. Yeah, Tamo's getting sent to horny jail. Accurate. Yeah, we'll see what the actual, what do you call it, Nero ending is, because I can't remember exactly how it goes, but I think basically, again, this is spoilers for anybody who hasn't played the game, but we will go through the entire game over the course of this stream at some point. If I'm not mistaken, the second half of the Regalia being broken like that pretty much makes it impossible for Nero's route to have a good ending. We basically reach a dead end from a visual novel standpoint because of that. It's an irreversible bad end kind of situation from here. But it's meant to be that way. It's intentional. I remember everybody who was playing this game at launch, when they got to this part, they shared this to me. They sent me a screenshot of this because it's 100% accurate. Yeah, June accurately points out that the 4 routes are one linear timeline as opposed to being 4 alternate routes. It goes from one to the next in linear order. He's panicking. He's like, no, this couldn't have happened. His tone is irritated, but his face is still calm. I wonder if anything could break that facade, short of the loss of a loved one. It's difficult to know what might be going through his head at that moment. However stoic his expression, he's certainly discouraged, and he doesn't seem to care if we know it. He must be deeply devoted to his work. Just as I find something to say to him, Saber quietly shushes me. Yeah, we can't say anything, we're a silent protagonist. We can only talk to Nero. I tell her it's okay. Everything will be alright, even though I have absolutely no way of backing that up. Still no signs of them adding Archimedes to Grand Order. The sky. No, my intuition tells me it's not the sky. It's not the sky. The world is about to break. Right here, right now. Hallelujah. Hello, my darling. We've been apart way too long.
わかるぞ。世にはあの者は所有している。
Beyond the break in the world is a pitch-black dimension, impossible to see through, until an ominous light surges forward. A different class of hostile program, or are they programs at all? I understand at once. They're broken programs, deceased, unable to function as they once did. All they do is run and run and run until their bodies crumble and break. They are the embodiment of destruction. I can only imagine how many lives they've already destroyed. They cannot be allowed within Seraph. They're an incurable disease, a poison that kills life itself, a predatory virus leeching off the world. They're void cells. Get wrecked. It's no use. Saber and I both reach out to him, but neither of us have any chance of grabbing him in time. The army of destruction rains down into Seraph soil and consumes Archimedes whole. I have a sickening feeling that both of us are next. He's fine. That feeling. What happens next feels almost like a dream. All at once, the army halts. Apparently, they're taking orders from the Maiden in White. The Maiden in... Wait. Haven't I seen her before?
私は大王である。私は破壊である。星より降りて。
A maiden in white, brown skin, thin figure, red eyes. A warrior. That's how I could best describe her. She looks right at home with a sword in her hand, just like Saber.
破壊の
She swings her sword, and afterwards, nothing remains. Nothing. As if she'd sheared a whole dimension away from existence.
剣の一振り、神明解放なしでこの威力。これではまるで竜種。いや。
I can hear the amazement in Saber's voice. She's impressed and surprised, but there's something darker in her voice as well. Something like fear. June wants to order Extella Link this week because his wife loves Astolfo's character design. Yeah, go for it. I actually, I'll get to this way later down the road, but I actually found Extella Link to be pretty underwhelming compared to the first game for many reasons. It does have better visuals and a lot more characters, and some of the aspects of the gameplay are balanced out a lot, but I just didn't think it was as fun, and the story is not nearly as interesting. Also, the soundtrack is not nearly as good. The soundtrack in this game absolutely slaps, and the one in Extella Link is kind of generic. I've never met her. Not truly. I shouldn't know her, but I can say her name. The Sword of Mars, the Scourge of God. Wherever her home might be, it must be close to the throne of heaven. Her name is Altera.
なんだ。真っ赤。いや、そなたではない。よく似た声ではあったが、出荷の伯爵の英霊にアルテラと呼びかけた声は。
Something does indeed lurk at the darkness beyond the break of the world. At first, I can't see its face, but I hear its voice. This was not what we agreed to, Altera. Please curb your destructive impulses for just a bit. Saber's right. The voice does sound like me, if I recorded myself and played it back, but that's just what I would sound like. And that voice's owner is standing right next to Altera. It's a strange life I have, where I see a duplicate of myself standing next to a potential enemy, and my first thought is, ah, this again. There we go, Green Hakuno, the ultimate Stockholm Syndrome victim that we... The most relatable Stockholm Syndrome victim you can possibly imagine. She is certainly surprised and confused, but again, I still sense that same fear as well. There is no fear in the other me, only calm, analytical interest. Her body language is clear. She carries herself with an unquestionable fealty towards Altera. The other me, my reflection, holds both affinity and hostility. She gives Saber a curious look. Do you recognize Saber, I ask? No, I've never seen her before. I can feel Saber's sorrow. No matter what the circumstances, the image of me giving her that cold, indifferent look is unbearable to her. I remember she told me she was heartbroken once before. I can imagine her pain. So... Yay! Okay, so I think we just narrowly escaped Altera there. We have a couple more dialogue conversations. I'm actually having really fun time dubbing this script here. I didn't think I would, but I'm kind of liking it. And even though, like, it's my voice, I still prefer to play as the female Hakuno, because everybody picks the girl, and it just feels, I don't know, a little bit more... I mentioned this in the previous stream, but it almost feels like it's more, it seems less sleazy when it's the girl. I don't know why. Maybe that's misogynistic of me to say, but like I said, it just seems less sleazy when it's the girl receiving all this praise instead of the guy. It just comes across as weird when that's the case. No doubt we wouldn't have gotten away if not for Saber. She poured all the Regalia's resources into defense and ran like hell. It took everything both of us had. Time to take full advantage of, quote-unquote, my room's healing properties. Saber always tells me to slow down and rest when I need to. Now it's my turn to tell her that. I want her to rest, just enough to let the fatigue ease out of her core. Same here. Even if I know she did most of the heavy lifting, it means a lot to hear her thank me like that. And now, here we are, alive and together. Sometimes surviving is winning. Okay, time to sleep. So now we're moving on to Mere Origo, the Stormy Sea Palace, which is a map that a lot of people should be very familiar with, as it bears a lot of resemblance to some locations in Fate Zero, which is pretty cool. We also will be introduced to Altera's team, which is, oh boy, are they interesting. Of course, Archimedes is perfectly fine, just like we knew he would be.
すがにあの様子ではロストしたものと思ったが、世と奏者も問題ない。新たな脅威に悩む頭の痛みも木で。
なんと未だ気力は萎えておられないとは。私はあなたを見誤っていたようだ。
June says Team Altera has nothing but bruisers. Well, it's funny because Jean is actually kind of weak, and her and Iskander get summoned by the Moon Cell to counteract Altera. They're sort of like antivirus, like, hey, go destroy that hostile program kind of situation. And then Gilgamesh just summons himself to the Moon Cell to deal with unfinished business with Altera, I guess. And so after Altera basically kicks the three of their asses and subjugates them, Gilgamesh is like, I will watch you with great interest. And then Iskander is like, you know, oh, she is a fine warrior indeed. I should like to see how this plays out. And then Jean is just like quivering in fear, just like, okay, I guess I'm following Iskander. I don't really want to be here. But it's great. Right. There's no doubt that her master is the third Hakuno Kishinami. There must be a story behind that, but I can't imagine what it is. And luckily, I have even more water. Body and soul. So, I am in the mind of Hakuno Kishinami. Caster's version is the soul, and the one with the white servant represents my body. Stopping to drink water. Devin says he ended up making a new deck. What is it? I'm very curious to know. And June says that Li Shuen has no range in his moveset. Yeah, I think if you just tap triangle without moving forward, he does like this spin kick attack that has decent range, and you just kind of rely on that for most of your stuff. Devin says Mathmex. Okay, that's awesome. I like Mathmex a lot. There's a lot of good generic cyber support to go with them.
3種の中でも最も揮発性の高いデータである精神はおよそ肉体や魂という専用の記録媒体がなくては消え失せるのみ。
手はあるのであろう。
無論ですともあの白色の英霊アルテラと呼ばれていた者の手にも敵によって分割されたレガリア。私は以前の言葉を訂正する必要があります。レガリアは2つに引き裂かれたのではなく3つに引き裂かれていたのでしょう。
奏者とレガリアが3つにか。まあ良い。
It's funny, June, I mentioned in the previous stream that like all of Nero's team that she picked were like people that she fought in Fate Extra that she doesn't want to have to fight again, like Gawain and Li Shuen, because Li Shuen was a pain in the ass to beat in Extra, and so I'm sure Nero was just like, here, you're on my side now because I don't want to have to deal with you anymore. So essentially the issue here is that because Hakuno is in this state of separation with 3 separate entities, the mind version that we are is very unstable and runs the risk of basically collapsing and fading away. So, we need to recover one of the other 2 in order to stabilize her, but also Tamamo's Regalia was destroyed. Unsurprisingly, there is yet a 3rd copy of it that Altera has that we can recover. What's strange is even though Altera has her own Regalia as well, she doesn't have a Moon Crux form, which is interesting. I feel like that's a missed opportunity with this game, because can you imagine how cool that would look? Give her some armor or some shit, like that'd be really cool.
こちらもキャスター戦で消耗していたのだから仕方ない。さて、そいつはどうかね。
Tell us straight facts, Ku. What are we in for here? Talk to me, man. What are we up against here?
Altera ってのが新名かは知らねえが、破格のサーバントなのは確かだ。というか特例か。あれはなんか裏があるぞ。そうでもなければあの宝具に説明がつかねえ。
なんさか。その口ぶり、アルテラと一戦交えてきたな。
いや、戦いにはなったが、背中がキンキンに冷えちまってな。それよりもだな、皇帝陛下の嬢ちゃん。空風林殿、すでに神王陛下はご回復なされています。仕方ねえか。まず、あんたの国取りはあと一歩だった。狐の姉ちゃん、玉も支配領域を完全に落とす寸前だったんだしな。
Double Umu.
そして玉も青のキャスターは撃破した。新たなレガリアを持つアルテラこそが次なる敵だ。
No, I wish it was that simple, Nero, but Altera's on a warpath here, so we may have to take back a little bit more than just a tiny little sliver.
どういう意味だ？仲がいいな、貴様たち。
おう、当たり。あんたたちが休息しているうちにアルテラの軍勢は凄まじい速度で進撃しやがった。この半日、いや半日足らずでセラフ全域のおよそ 80% を連中は掌握した。
So they took the 80% that we just had back.
そうだ。
80% と申したのか？
申したとも。俺やガウェイン、アサシンにアーチャーの野郎も各エリアで抵抗したんだがな。
That Archer.
完全に奇襲された形だ。最初から 20% を残すと決めて、他は切り捨てなければこの陣まで攻め込まれてただろうよ。あの女、どこの英霊か知らねえが随分な玉だ。とんでもなく戦慣れ。さらに配下がヤバい連中揃いと来やがった。マケドニアの大英雄。
Yeah, that's like that must be why Altera's campaign against us sort of escalated like it did, is once she got her other servants in gear, they just kind of led a great siege to our territories and just killed everything. Nero is just in shock. Okay, snap out of it, Saber. If it is taken, then all we have to do is take it back. You're good at that, and you love doing it, right? We'll fix this.
そうだな、奏者。その通りだ。よもや半日で 80% とは。半月で 50% であったキャスターが変わり、しかしやるしかないのだ。最新劇である。
Which most likely means confronting Altera directly, which is what hopefully you have in mind. So we are a little bit more than halfway through the Flame Poem arc, and hopefully we'll finish the rest tonight. Let's go ahead and have our conversation here. I don't know what you're referring to, Nero. All I know is that you're naked now. Fantastic, of course. I can almost feel myself melting into this heated pool. And I feel hotter than the water itself. Not just from the water on my skin, but from inside, all across my face and chest. I'm bathing with Saber, of course. Nothing could cool me off right now.
胸の高鳴りを覚えているのだな。何を隠そう。よもだ。いや、このような姿では何を隠すでもないが、言葉のあやなので気にするな。
Devin's like, oh, it's one of those games. I have no idea what you're talking about.
そなたが最高の奏者であるからこそ、世はそなた以外にこうも熱くはなるまい。
You know, it's just a couple of girls who are bros, just, you know, bathing together in a hot spring. You know, nothing weird about that at all.
そなただけだぞ。世自慢のバラの湯へと誘う相手などと。
But I did say, I did mention earlier how, I mean, so Devin, in case you're not as familiar with Fate, Nero is actually like Nero the Fifth, Emperor of Rome from actual history. Imu, Michelle's here as well.
Hello.
She just got home.
Say hello because I need noms.
Behold, naked Nero.
Yay!
But she so it's not, I mean, even though it's clearly fan service, it's not the most out of character thing for somebody from the Roman era to be like very boisterous and flaunt around naked. And June's like, Michelle has good taste.
I sure do.
I mean, we like all the girls in this game though. Like all three of them are pretty great.
Yes.
その挑戦に応じたくてうずうずしてるのも本音。
Devin's like, what? I didn't even mention anything about Nero being like gender bent or anything.
Gotta find my deck.
Obviously, we
Yeah.
have to go with this option, right?
I'm pretty sure that's like I didn't even second guess that option. I was like, yep.
Yeah. Which I actually said at the beginning of the stream that there's actually a like I said, even though this is like one of those diegetic things that's there to justify fan service, somebody did point out to me who watched the previous stream that that there's a reason for why Red Hakuno treats Nero this way, and it's because the mind Hakuno is more confident and more passionate, and so is this a Jaden emote here that Devin has?
That looks like
is
a
that
Jaden.
what that is?
That looks like a Judah.
There's a lot of them.
Okay, so that makes sense. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, and they were saying that that's one of those things that that kind of gets lost in translation with the localization, because there's actually a canon reason for why the three Hakunos behave differently for a reason. Like they actually are characterized differently. I just didn't catch that my previous time playing this.
I knew that there was a difference because each one had a different way they spoke and handled. Because can you imagine this Hakuno would have reacted to Tamamo very differently?
Yeah, and actually that's kind of Tamamo's frustration in her route, is that the blue Hakuno is kind of emotionally detached, which is kind of putting her off.
Right, so this one's mine.
Yeah, blue
Tamamo had
soul and Altera has body.
Right. So that makes sense. Kind of.
Yeah, because basically, if you think this fan service here is bad, just wait until we get to Tamamo's route, where Tamamo's really just like, shut up and let me bang you, God!
Tamamo is like, take off your clothes.
Yeah.
Please. And you're like, no thank you.
It's literally just the ongoing saga of Tamamo trying to get laid, and Elizabeth Bathory coming in and cock-blocking her.
Yeah, Tamamo's the fox girl, yeah. But we love her.
Every time I see that that emote, Devin, I just think of what is it, Hazuma from Blaze Blue? I don't know if that's who that is or not. That's just what I think of every time I see it. What is that?
The last of my marbles.
Okay.
One whole ass marble.
後悔の海で反問するのが世の通例だが
You have officially found your marbles.
I found one.
So it is It is him then, because it's the isn't Yuki Terumi and Hazuma the same person? Or am I thinking of a different character? Yeah. I haven't played Chrono Phantasma really. I've only really played Continuum Shift and whatever the second one was.
Alright. I love you guys, but I want zeros now.
It's gonna roll away.
Bolts.
Alright,
I'm gonna go eat food because I'm fucking starving.
Okay, eat your food.
I won't eat food. Come on, baby girl.
Take the cat.
Okay, taking the cat. Sorry, y'all. Fairly well. I'll be back. Maybe.
3人目の奏者キャスターの時とはいささか様子が違う。アルテラ目に囚われている。何らかの方法で強制的に。See,
if I was any good at BlazBlue, I would main Bang Shishigami. That's probably my favorite character, but I'm not very good at it. Yeah. So I played Calamity Trigger and Continuum Shift, but I have not played Chrono Phantasma or Central Fiction. Oh man, Furin Kazan was my ringtone for a couple of years, or not my ringtone, my alarm. So I'd wake up to that.
それともアルテラ自身の力によるものか。幸い何者であれアルテラはサーバント。捕虜として捕まっているにしてもマスターであるうちは。
He was also voiced by Tony Oliver, which is amazing. I see. As long as the body doesn't break the contract with Altera and lose the master title, Altera won't let the body die.
であろう。そうでなければ、そなたがあのような行いを看過するはずがない。どうあれ、肉体の奏者も助け出さねばな。マスターを人間として扱うという。
Alright, we're just gonna leave you in there. Total of 6 stages of the last one doesn't really count. Alright, so moving on to stage 4. That's where we just were. See, that's the thing about trying to play these chapters when you've already done it, is that if you click play the story mode, it takes you back to the beginning of the same conversation you just had. Whereas if you click play the whole play the battle stage, it takes you into the actual battle. Alright, so this is the first chapter where we have to go up against Altera's team and we learn of who they are. You may notice that this sector we're about to transition into has an uncanny resemblance to the iconic Three Kings Banquet from Fate Zero, where you can see the barrels of wine that Iskander purchased pouring out into a sort of a pond in front of us, and we have the literal courtyard that they had the Three Kings Banquet in sitting here, which I think is an awesome little parallel. I mean, Musou games seem to have a little bit of, fan service references to their source material, but this is basically a canon entry in its own source material. But I just think it's really cool that they they gave us that. They gave us little cheeky references like that. Also love the space background too, with all the fake planets. This is just such a cool stage with cool music as well. I love the piano in this music is very, very Fate. Alright, so we're back into combat finally after all that dialogue. Get used to that, guys. We have another large aggressor here that we need to deal with, and an ice trap as well. Let's go ahead and mop up these guys. All three of the nice thing about this sector is all the aggressors already come in spawned because of that cutscene we had with Altera. So once we deal with this, we can start moving up. The center sector there is worth 3 points, and we shouldn't encounter a servant there. Oh dear. Another ice. We have ice and fire here, which I probably should have adjusted my equipment before going into this battle, if that's the case. I also already have the trophy for deflecting sector traps like 30 times or whatever it is that the game requires you to do. Alright, we should be able to finish this guy off now. And then hurry to the middle. If this game looks really fast-paced, it's because it is. Oh no, these things. Okay, so I fired off my Extella maneuver immediately upon transitioning in here because there's these floating bat sentry enemies in here that are electric-based, and they will stun-lock the shit out of you, and it's really annoying. So I tried to just render that ineffective immediately by just bombing all of them at the beginning. Another ice one. I don't have a out to the fire ones, which is going to be a problem. So I either have to leave the sector before they affect me, or I just need to tank the damage and heal it off. Which actually, it might be a high enough level where we can take the damage from a sector trap and not die from it. I haven't actually spawned in the last aggressor here, but this is a pretty quick sector. We already have 3 points on our side already. If this is the chapter that I think it is, Iskander is... So, we actually don't have Gilgamesh on this map yet. We're just fighting against Iskander. And, oh shit, there we go. I haven't taken a single hit from one of these guys yet. Oh, that one just did like a weird jumping attack. That was crazy. Come on. Oh, finally took a hit from one of those things, and the camera decided it wanted to be weird. I don't really need it, but I will take the sake thing here. All right, we captured that. The sector that I'm about to run into, so I don't think that Iskander is super powered here, but he is, countering him here in a sector that's already under our control does kind of, oh, I shouldn't have skipped that, I should have showed that off. Yeah, he is super powered, which is a little bit annoying, but we're just going to dump our Extella maneuver gauge into him, blow up all the enemies that he's using to blitzkrieg into our sector, and get some good damage. And we basically just have to deal enough damage to him where he retreats, and then we'll be okay. We don't actually have to... yeah, here we go. Actually, we got him down to more than half his health gone. And we successfully defended that sector, which is good, so that should hold off for a lot longer. We're going to have to go over here, unfortunately. So the sector boss here is Jeanne d'Arc, and she is one of the easiest bosses in the game, actually. She is incredibly squishy. A lot of times we defeat her with our Moon Driver, just our regular attacks, before we even get our Double Phantasm off. So I'm not even going to worry about finding all the Cipher Keys and everything, especially if they are in sectors that are difficult to get to. Also really love this sort of elevated platform up here too. It's really cool. This is a very cool little sector. I'm not sure if this is a reference to anything other than just like maybe like ancient Greco-Roman or like Macedonian kind of aesthetic. Yeah, we're going to take that fire damage there. Fine, we're good. We survived. I don't know that we'll have that luck with Tamamo and Altera's route, so we may just have to be very careful next time and make sure to adjust our setup. I will get this Cipher Key because it's literally right in front of me. Oh, I realize I haven't even defeated all the aggressors yet. Might as well get on that. Iskander is actually quickly moving through different... Oh! I was just bragging about how I hadn't taken any damage from these things in a while. And then I take a death here. Command Seal is going to bring us back in, of course. Oh, okay. Just gonna give myself some breathing room really quick here. Yeah, you gotta really pay attention to, I mean, when they do that spinning attack, it's pretty easy to dodge, but he did like an overhead swing with his fist there, and that's what got me. There we go. See, I can dodge them pretty easily if I'm paying attention. Yeah, that's the attack that got me. I wasn't paying attention there. Also, Nero is red, and all of their telegraphing moves are also like red. Also, every army has different skins for their attack programs, but honestly the difference between Tamamo's and Altera's is pretty negligible, whereas Nero's have like a golden armor aesthetic to them, which is pretty cool. I'm going to try to intercept Iskander again, because if I do, I will be able to... Oh, come on. There we go. If I intercept Iskander again, I'll be able to at least save myself from having to regain territory, and I might be able to gain the 1 point on the regime matrix from defeating him. Yeah, luckily his physical attacks aren't too much to worry about. I just gotta worry about the stupid chariot. Yeah, sure, we'll just... Okay, and he's retreating. Just air chuckle this guy. Alright, we're gonna go over here because this sector is worth 2 points instead of 1, and it has a plant, which means we run a very high risk of having aggressors transition to one of our sectors, which would be bad. There's actually one sector that we have that's under attack right now. Oh, we actually, did we just defeat this whole okay, there's one aggressor that will spawn. We may have to eat another fire trap, which I'll take that. It's no big deal. We may not have to deal with it because we're just going to take over the sector before they get a chance to even use it on us. Cool, no fire damage. I'll take that. Get to save my 5 heals that I haven't really had to use yet. Watch me not have to change equipment at all this entire run. You know what, Iskander? You're a jerk. You're a jerk face. Guarding, but he's low on health, so this should be the end of him. Of course, he is superpowered, so he can just kind of go right through our regular physical attacks. Oh, that's not good. I need to heal that off. Maybe there's a healing item laying around on this sector somewhere. There is. Give me the bento box. Ah, right. Take that, King of Conquerors. So now we just need to take one more sector, which this one will do just fine. Actually, let's just go with this one over here, because this one doesn't have a sector trap. And doesn't have a plant. Where'd he go? Are you kidding me? We lost the sector worth 1 point, and now we have to get it back, which is annoying. I guess we will have to take this one over here with the plant in it. Doesn't matter. We're fine. Again, these maps where like the sectors are only worth 1 point are kind of tedious because it just makes completing the regime matrix difficult for no real reason. Because if you lose territory, it's like, oh great, I have to take a whole other sector just to gain back 1 point, and yeah, we're gonna take the fire damage there because we don't have a code cast to block that with. Totally fine. There are these archers over here. I said we weren't going to go for the Noble Phantasm, but we ended up getting it anyway. Also, when I'm at this low health, the regular mobs, the regular attack programs, should drop yakisoba bread or bento boxes for us to heal with anyway. Which looks like we got one little yakisoba bread there. I actually didn't do the yakisoba bread objective thing on the map where you can unlock Artoria. I did not do that here in the Flame Poem arc, but I will do that in the Tamamo's route in the Orchid Worlds arc. Alright, so we're done here. I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the center where Jeanne d'Arc is going to spawn. Already on the very sector that she will spawn at, and she will be a very quick kill. And there she is. Somebody's waifu, I'm sure. So, I wish there was a way to have like a custom emote or whatever, because on our Discord for the Fate group, we have a reaction that is our friend Brad's cosplay of Gilles de Rais, who, as you know from Fate Zero, is obsessed with Jeanne d'Arc. And so every time somebody posts like a Jeanne cosplay or Jeanne fan art, it's like Brad react every single time with the little Gilles de Rais emote there. And so if I had that right now, I would be like, Gilles de Rais, Brad react emotes in chat right now. Yeah, Jeanne is pretty squishy, so she may actually just die from the Moon Crux. We may not even have to use Noble Phantasm here. Yeah, she's... well, she's going to activate her own moon drive here, but we're just going to keep beating up on her. There she goes. Holy crap. Bye. Bye. We're sorry. We're sorry. You're cute. We're sorry. Yeah, again, she's by far the weakest of Altera's generals, so... Is there no bond level eligibility for Nero on this chapter? That's kind of lame. Do we at least get one for Artoria? We did. Which means she's pretty close to level 30 as well. We get the exact same animation as the previous scene with Altera, but just in a different stage. Here she is.
噂をすれば姿を見せるか。自らの評価がそれほど気になるのか。3人目の奏者はいないか。
そうだ。あれは私の所有物。私のマスターだ。外に出る自由も。
やはり囚われの身であったか。貴様、マスターを何だと思っている。
何度も言っている。あれは私の虜だと。本来なら指輪だけあればいいところをああして生かしているだけだ。だが前回はその選択を逆手に取られた。私の石室から出てくるなど許した覚えはない。その罰として
主の声を無視し無理やりにか。
That was the reaction that I can't remember who I recently showed Altera's design to, but they had the exact same reaction where they were just like, she's naked. The only thing, and this made it difficult obviously for Michelle to do the cosplay, was just how ridiculously low cut the bottoms are for her outfit. Like, the rest of it's fine, but the low cut nature of the bottom is like impossible. You've got to modify that and have like some kind of pants on. Nero finally getting a feel for Altera's personality and motives here, saying that she basically has her version of Hakuno as a prisoner, confined to the regalia at all times, not allowed to speak to anyone or do anything, which we pointed out earlier that it's almost like her version of Hakuno is into it. Like, they are devoted to Altera's cause, which seems ridiculous considering her cause is just destruction. She has that just smug look about her as well. That's an interesting question. Probably somebody who knows a little more about history can clarify that for me. That does make a really interesting interaction later on with Nero and Iskander, where they're basically just like, hey, you're a conqueror, we kind of vibe, and they have like a cool little rivalry. Her words are deadly quiet. Surrender or extinction. The White Servant isn't lying. I'm sure Saber knows that too. Whatever else she might be, she's clearly true to her word.
よく考える。再び私とお前たちが出会う時。
Oh, whatever. I'm convinced that Elizabeth's strategy for this whole war is just to, like, wait until... It's like when you're playing a multiplayer game on, like, free-for-all, where you just wait for two people to get into a fight and you just pick off the weaker person. Elizabeth never picks a fair fight with anybody. Falling like a star to crush all those beneath. Again, I think back to what Altera said. The planet, her star, there has to be some greater connection. We're glad somebody told her. And she has as you probably noticed there, Altera has a different type of transition effect when she like teleports like that than the other servants do, because she's like from the void space basically, so she has a different property on the moon cell than the other ones do. She doesn't quite belong there. She's like an invasive program. The Star of Destruction that comes again every 14,000 years. Guess what, Devin? It's Nibiru. It's not actually Nibiru, but it's like I said, elements of, as he just screams no in the chat, elements of this story do kind of borrow from, like, as I mentioned in the, previous video, elements of this story kind of borrow from, like, ancient alien theories and, like, again, Nibiru, rogue planet kind of theories, because, so she's mentioning Velber here. I'm sure she's going to explain it, but even if she doesn't, I'll explain it. So Velber is basically like, it's like Nibiru in a way. It's a rogue planet it's a rogue alien planet that travels the solar system that exterminates other worlds. And, so however many, 14,000 years ago, apparently, a fragment of it came in contact with the Earth and caused untold amounts of destruction, which is the, 14,000 year extinction event, the end of the Ice Age kind of event, where the White Titan walked the Earth and everything, and that's how we have this corrupt entity on the moon cell, is the piece of Velber that landed on the moon, as we saw in the game's opening scene, which I had to skip part of because of copyrighted music, but it is what it is. The catastrophe destroys all civilizations without clemency or judgment. The beasts of nature suffer horrible mutations, run amok, and ultimately fall to ash. Prophets protest that the end has come too soon. Rulers call upon their people to fight. Scholars say only that it is too late. But some people cling to their optimism, believing that at least some of them will endure. Until the true threat makes its appearance. I saw something I'd never seen before, but it seemed familiar. Was it a memory of mine? Where could I have seen it? And how? Was it someone else's memory, maybe? And could it be related to the memories I lost in the moon cell core?
惑星？世界？ベルバーと言ったな。とんだ道化の王もあったものね、セイバー。確かめてみなさいな。
Elizabeth's telling Nero to fuck around and find out.
エウレカうるさい全裸系バカが。尋ねればきっと答えてくれるわ。あなたたちのそれが。それじゃ、さよなら。
Yeah, and Elizabeth always refers to us as a squirrel for some reason, which is funny.
せいぜい最後の時までの短い時間楽しみなさい。あがくなり嘆くなり何もかも忘れて歌うなり。何なのだ思わせぶりに。
Alright, June, thanks, man. Hey, it's good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it.
いよいよもって優勢とは何を指すのだ。文字どダークエリザの言葉に従うわけではないが。
Great scholar with capitalization there.
.では聞こう。優勢とは何か。その口は何を隠していたのかをな。正しいわけあってのことなら真実を隠していた罪は寛大に処す。理解され得ぬ天才同士とはいえども裏切りは許さぬ。覚悟はできているな。
Oh, if only she knew. Like, if only she knew the extent of it.
お言葉の通り神王がセラフ統一を果たしたその時にこそ明かすべきと私は自らに定めておりました。
つまり
御意ですがサーバントとしての好みかりそめの命をとして。
そうか許す。マーセ
御身に世界の命運がかかっております。こればかりは
世界の命運ときたか。似たようなものは常に感じているが率直に言ってセラフの存在につながる話か。
いいえそのような承知ではありません。世界とは正しく言葉通り我々が認識する宇宙のあり方すなわち人類そのものを指した言葉御身の指に輝きしレガリアにこそ月と地球上の人類とその文明すべての命運が預けられているのです。ムーンセルにシステム技師として召喚された瞬間私はその事実を知り得ました。故にこそムーンセルがあなたへレガリアを与えたことムーンセルが14000年周期のシステム更新期を迎えたこと。
また14000年か。
So, again, I mentioned this before, but the Regalia is essentially it's the prize that we got for winning the Holy Grail in Fate Extra, but it's also a weapon designed to protect to use the moon basically as a defense mechanism against world-ending threats for mankind. Which evidently the hypothetical ancient aliens that built the moon cell knew about because Velbert had already entered the solar system, so.
月の聖杯戦争を勝ち抜いてみせたあなたこそ14000年周期で訪れる敵との戦いに必要な存在であると。月の内部であれ地球からの攻撃であれムーンセルはあらゆる脅威を敵とは認識しない。しかしそのムーンセルが唯一敵とみなすものがある。人類圏では存在しない敵 この太陽系銀河系に存在しない敵、すなわちその名を
Velber, the Umbral Star. It passes through our system every 14,000 years, consuming and destroying all in its path.
文明を
ベルバー、やはり聞き覚えのない名前だ。世の知る限り各地の神話や伝説にそれに似た響きはないわ。
はい、これはムーンセル中枢に記録されたムーンセルのみが記録した名称です。ですが地上には一部この優勢の記録が残されています。14000年前に刻まれた警告として、捕食優勢とは文字通り外宇宙から飛来する優勢です。これはムーンセルと同レベルの技術、人類を上回る知性体によって作られたもう一つの神の目と言っていい。その正体構造は不明ですが、捕食優勢はボイドセルと呼ばれる回路でできている。ベルバーは全てを破壊する星、量子によって稼働し事象を記録観測し続けるムーンセルとは。
That's interesting. I don't know if I paid attention to the dialogue enough on my previous playthrough to catch that, but basically Velber works on similar principles to the moon cell, and so probably has a similar origin, because again, mankind didn't build the moon cell. They were just kind of forced to inhabit it after the, end of the world basically happened. And so the whole concept of like spiritrons and everything is kind of how things manifest in there. And so the metaphor being that Velper is, like Archimedes said, the moon cell's conceptual opposite, which is interesting.
14000年前、太陽系に現れたベルバーによって地球の戦士文明は跡形もなく
It's like I said in part 1, it's like, that sure was a sentence I just said, and this is the same universe that Fate takes place in.
ムーンセルはそれまで蓄積したなゆたものあり得た可能性、数多くのイフの未来史さえ奪われた。ベルバーはムーンセルを通過する際、ムーンセル内部をハッキングし、その記録を奪っていったといいます。そのためムーンセルに残された古代文明の記録は、この時空の結果と振り幅が多少ずれた未来測定が、いえ、それだけを守ることに専念したからこそ、かろうじて人類。
今回もその保証はないと。いや、ムーンセルは管理の怪物。たとえ使われない記録であろうと、わずかなメモリーすら奪われたくないのだな。
しかり、そのためにムーンセルは対ベルバー用の防
Yep, and there it is. The moon cell prepared an anti-Velber defense mechanism, the Regalia, and Archimedes himself, which actually that part may not be true. I don't think Archimedes is intentionally a countermeasure to the to Velber.
改造することはできない。まったく、これはムーンセルの宿話と言えます。この偉大な神の目は、自身より強いものは呼び出せても自身を強くすることはできない。そんなムーンセルが考案した防護策がレガリアシステムだった。自身はベルバーのハッキングに備え、中枢を完全に閉鎖し自閉状態に入る。どのような外敵が現れようと破れない壁の中に閉じこもった。これがシステム更新の真実です。ですが、捕食優勢の特性から考えるに、守りだけでは突破されるかもしれない。そのためには中枢の外、ベルバーが太陽系から去るまでの間、壁を破壊しようとするベルバーの先兵を打倒する王権代行者、それがあなたなのです、神王よ。あなたはセラフを治めるために選ばれたのではない。セラフ、すなわちあまたの知的生命体を要する世界の守護、この洋乱の世界を守る大役なのです。
為政者ではなく世に戦いの王であれというのだな。それは貴様の言葉か、それともムーンセルより授かった言葉か。
無論後者です。そしてかつて地上の人としてあった我が思いでもありましょう。しかしこれなる真実はあまりに重い。地上にて名を成した英雄といえど、 容易に受け止めきれるものではない。それゆえに私はあなたをたばかることを決めたのです。あなたがセラフの統一を成し遂げるほどの人物であれば、その時こそレガリアの真の意味を。
貴様の言葉は受け取った。世界を守る王か。人類史に名を刻む歴代ローマ皇帝であっても白草のアルキメデス。その言葉、真実として受け入れよう。裏切りは裏切りだが、一度目は許そう。その首、今は貴様に預けておく。世を見くびったことは反省する。
Nero's like, thank you for telling me the truth, but I will still scold you.
理解を超えた敵ではあるが、それが一体何だというのだ。
I love how she just can swing her arm and rose petals just fly out everywhere.
空に輝く星々は至高の美を彩る輝きなのだから。それを守ることなぞ当然すぎて迷うまでもない。よ、たとえ彼方より飛来する敵であろうと、奏者と民とを守り、これに打ち勝つ。ムーンセルに言われずともなし。
見事なまでの宣言、感服の極み。東大のムーンセルシステム技師として私は最大の敬意を持って使えることを誓い、私は嬉しい。これでようやく本当の戦いが始められる。我らが神王の敵は捕食優勢ベルバー。ムーンセルを破壊する魔のほうき星。神機を一転し。
Alright, finally on to the 5th stage, which is second to last, the 6th one being just a boss stage. And we will finally get to confront Gilgamesh, and then also Altera by extension. But first we have a new Bond conversation. Well, it may not be a Bond conversation yet. We'll see what happens here.
自らを無慈悲と語りながら、世にはあやつのあり方がよく見えぬ。何者なのだ、あの女は。そうだな、奏者よ。あれはまず間違いなくサーバントではある。電脳体として存在する生命だ。作りが微妙に我らとは違う気もするが、マスターを第一の魔力源とするサーバントだ。
Yeah, it's complicated, Nero. that will be explained much later on.
契約を交わして破壊の申し子のように振る舞いながらも
Michelle's back.
人間に理解を示すのは
Want him alone?
3人目の奏者と契約している影響であろうか。しかし文明の破壊か。しかしどうにも世の胸に引っかかってしまう。あの者の言葉。
I don't know why Nero would find her that familiar. Okay, that's the extent of that conversation. No, I don't know why Nero would find Altera familiar. That's the extent of that conversation, so now we can slip. So this stage should be the actual boss fight against Altera. Actually, this might be the one where, yeah, that was one I finished earlier. This one is actually, when I think about it, this is probably the one where I think Gilgamesh is actually the stage boss, and Altera is running around rampantly throughout the stage, if I remember correctly, because she's like super powered and we can't touch her. Or that might be later in the game. Either way, we'll find out. Oh, I guess I do have to go through these just to make sure I'm not missing anything about the story. I guess this is just like reminders of what the exposition dump that he just gave us a little bit ago, which again I already pretty much extrapolated on and explained what they mean. Certain partitions of the moon cell, those partitions now quarantined, are known as the Zero Dark, which is essentially Altera's home field domain.
空にベルバーが輝く時、月は砕け、あまねく地上の営みは滅びる。知的生命体の敵、文明の敵、そして人とその文明のすべてを記録し続ける。それがついに現れたのです。あの白いサーバント、アルテラこそ。
She is, but it's more complicated than that.
改めて聞くと。 さすがに固唾を飲んでしまうな。あれか?
Nero says fighting a celestial body may be easier said than done, but funny thing about that is that in Type Moon's lore you have things called types that are the sort of, it's a living being that is a celestial body. So there's like a spirit manifestation of the different planets. This is mostly explored in notes with, what do you call it, Type Venus that gets killed by the gun god, you know, and, what's the other one? Type Mercury is in another Type Moon work, and then, Arcoade, I think, is Type Moon, and her father is Type Earth. But, so I guess it begs the question, is Velber a type? Or is it something similar, or something completely different altogether? That's never quite addressed in the lore, I think, because they tried to avoid mentioning the types, aside from a couple of very obscure, like under the radar references in Grand Order. It just seems like the Extraverse is just kind of trying to do its own thing, and that it's not best to try to correlate any kind of continuity between certain things that happen here and things that happen in the other Fate storylines, even some of the Grand Order ones.
14000年周期で訪れる優勢ベルバー。ムーンセルが持つ権限を一時的に第三者に譲渡するシステムです。神王の形態変身はその英霊の特性とは別に
レガリアの権限でムーンセルの力を組み上げ自分の思うままに特性を変化させた。
Man, this game must have been an absolute undertaking to localize, because not only did they have to do this translation and make sure the script was like written properly, but they had to make all of this stuff make sense. So like trying to make all of this dialogue and exposition actually sound like actually digestible was an undertaking for sure.
このムーンセル内部に侵入し排除しきれなかった優勢のムーンセルはアンチセルを排除できなかった。未明領域に彼らを封印するしかなかった。ですのでお忘れなきようにレガリアは対ベルバー用の霊装アルテラを撃つための武器なのです。
そうか、そうなのか。てっきり要はムーンセルが持た
She's like, I thought it was just a cute wedding ring.
か何かとばかり。真実のレガリアとはちょっぴり残念だぞ。いや、分かってはいたのだ。まあよい。くれるものはもらっておく。レガリアの進化が武器ならば使いこなすまで。
英霊アルテラ。彼女は地球における英霊です。それがいかなる理由か優勢に選ばれ、その手足で神王に敵対している。
Altera is simultaneously a servant that the moon cell recognizes from Earth, but is also a agent of Velber. We will, again, that will be explained much later in the story.
ベルバーが文明を捕食する際、アルテラはそのコマンダーです。あれは未明領域の封印を解き、完全なレガリアを持つサーバントをムーンセルの化身であると仮定するならば、アルテラは優勢の化身に相当する存在でしょう。さらありえざる魔力量を持って多大な破壊を行い、14000年前にベルバーが残した未明領域のエネミー軍を操り、強力にして強大、実に恐るべき相手です。
英霊なのだな、あくまで。
Michelle's like giving Nero head pats.
あれも
世のようにか。しかり。
はい。アルテラという神名に正しく該当する英霊は現在のところ確認できていません。
それだ。そうなのだ。聞いたか、奏者よ。神名さえ聞けば大抵の場合はあの地のあの時代における英雄かと思うものだ。あのものにはそれがない。アルテラ。
Just thinking about the localization as well, I'm reminding myself that like this game and its sequel for that matter did not have to have a localization. Like we had extra localized and but we didn't have CCC localized, and I thought that would be the end of it. I didn't think that we would be getting any more of these games translated and released with like physical copies and all that, but we sure did, and they really tried to market this game pretty well as well. Like GameStop had like little commercials that would play inside the store describing the game and stuff like that, and it had a special edition. The sequel had a special edition, like physical copies on the Vita, which was already a dead system at the time. They really wanted this game to do well in the West, and I think that's really saying something. And they didn't have to do that. Like we did not deserve this game, basically. But we sure got it. I mean, I was content just playing the Japanese Vita version when it came out, and thinking to myself, you know, if this game never gets localized, I'll be happy. But then when it did, and I learned how great the story was, I was like, man, I cannot even begin to show my appreciation.
14000年前に使用された戦兵がその
We probably could have skipped a lot of this exposition and gone straight into this next chapter, but I just wanted to make sure I covered all my bases. This run was going to be as complete of a run as you could have, and make sure I just got all of the dialogue, even if it's not super storyline important.
外に出れば自戒する。あくまで旧世代の戦兵です。だからこそベルバーは新しい戦兵を欲しがった。再接近しつつあるベルバーは未明領域に残された分身巨神を利用して襲撃を行ったのでしょう。そしてレガリア継承の準備を進めていた私を襲い。
Yeah, and again he's telling the truth there. That is pretty much what happened, although his motivations were not pure exactly.
すでに敵に囚わ巨神は崩壊したものの、敵はマスターを獲得し、ムーンセル内で自由に活動できる者、サーバントを召喚することに成功した。それがあの白い英霊、アルテラ。彼女は地球の生命でありながら。
That's an interesting angle to do that from. It's like saying the enemy then forced the body to summon a servant, Altera, which I don't know that that's That's interesting. It makes you wonder if the servant version of Altera would exist if it wasn't for the third Hakuno, or if she was already there.
あやつが我が奏者を捕らえていることは明白だ。世も念のために尋ねよう。レガリアを取り戻し、ここにいる奏者と3人目とを統合すれば。
はい。まず間違いなくキャスターによって連れ去られた魂は行方不明ではありますが、消え去ることはありません。ご安心ください。
その場合、魂はどうなる？ 再統合にあたって呼び寄せられたりはするのか？
呼び寄せられるでしょう。現在別れ独立しているのは精神と肉体が一つになればその器に決定します。となれば残る魂は。
なるほど。より強いものに引き寄せられるということだな。
拒むことはできません。精神と肉体が一つになった時点で残りの一つは統合されるのです。ああ、ただそうです。
Just like yelling outside the door
それ
now.
は面白い考察です。シンを3要素のどれかが不慮の事故で消滅した例えばの話、魂がキャスターによってですが新たな魂の要素が肉体に宿り三位一体は。
So Aaron came over earlier and we were trading cards and Astro was being rude to him. But I gave her I tried to give her one of those treats and watch her get up in the cat tree so she would leave him alone and her attention would be drawn off. But she wanted to stand by my feet as I held the bag of cat treats. And I kept shaking it, and eventually I'm just like, get in the fucking cat tree! And then she eventually just jumps up in there. Like, she actually, like, listened to me and jumped up in there when I said that. And then she stayed up there for pretty much the rest of the day.
その点においては肉体の奏者を抑えているアルテラが有利ということか。
That's funny.
And I took my flip-flops off, and I was like, no! Bitch hissed at me. I'm like, I don't fucking think so today. It's like,
Yeah.
go fucking down. The fucking sheer disrespect. My foot's asleep, man.
The disrespect.
小アルギツネに続いて
First a sly little fox, then a harbinger of the apocalypse from beyond the stars.
Why?
Oh, such the woes of being Nero.
獣であろうと奏者の魅力からは逃れられるものではないからもし
Not this game related, but game related.
虫に求められるとなぜそんなにモテモテなのだ。
Fucking sharks in Animal Crossing.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, number 1. Then she's like, number 2. And then like I call her when I'm on my way over, and she's like, haha, number 3. And I like see it pop up, and she's like, you fucking bitch.
That's funny. Is that are they particularly difficult to catch in Animal Crossing?
They can be a little bit sneaky and sly, but I was just like, she was like,
そろそろ出陣の準備をしましょう。好きだの嫌いだのの話になり、今は時間を無駄にできる状況ではありません。その手の話はアルテラを倒した後になさる。
God, that was a long conversation. I kind of wish I skipped that exposition, but
旗の聖女この上ない難敵だったがこたびもなんとか勝利したな。しかしいかなる理由があっての行動だったのか。まあよい。いくらかの予想であればつくというもの。
the camera dramatically zooms in on her.
そうであろう。アルテラ。
What are you doing, Nero? Just pops her in here like, let's chat.
気配を読み取ったか。
no, she sensed her. She was
Yeah.
already in here. Aster, no!
What is she doing?
でも気づく。
Yeah, she needs to
と
get out
か
of there.
く貴様の気配は独特ゆえな。
I want to hide on the bookshelf.
今は
Behind
真っ
the
先に問いただす
games.
ことがある。
Behind the game.
旗の聖女が敵に回った。
No, she's going over there.
I do want to cosplay Nero.
聖女は邪悪の優勢に
I'm
屈
gonna
した
titty
か。
for it, but I'll do
い
it.
な、そうではあるまい、アルテラよ。貴様だ。
Were you watching the stream last time when Nero was making fun of Elizabeth Bathory for being flat-chested?
Yes. I played the game. I know she does.
I mean, I forgot that dialogue was there, but it was kind of funny.
Elizabeth.
お前は自分の言葉を理解してい
Dark
る。
Dark Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
お前が戦った2機は
Poor
我が
Elizabeth.
軍神の権によって従わせた
She
までのこと。
deserves it up to a point.
分かりきったことを問うなど、
自分の言葉を理解していないのは貴様の方だな。アルテ
I cannot fit in that costume.
Right.
I'm gonna try that.
The sparks flying from Saber's meteoric blade as it clashes with the sword of Mars. the surge of energy as Saber swings, the vast reserves of mana in Altera's Sword of Light. Twice before, Altera drove Saber back. This time, Saber stands her ground. There is some deeper hidden power within the regalia, some untapped reserve in Saber's true nature. Perhaps is simply the result of all her training. All that aside, Saber will unleash the core of her passionate fire. I don't even need to ask. The arcs of her sword paint a picture as beautiful as a blooming rose.
私と正面から交われば壊れるだけだ。誰であれ、私の正面に立つことはない。だというのに、面白い戦い方をするのだな。滅びを回避するために戦いながら。
Respect on best girl there.
いや、真紅のセイバー。舞い散るために生まれた花か。絶え間のない炎のようだ。
当然だ。世は滅びを嫌うのではない。
いや、遅い。
The last time that, like, so when we were fighting in Tamamo's little throne room area, Altera swung her sword like one time and it just like tore open a hole in that room, and yet we're fighting in Nero's bedroom and everything is fine. That's Nero in a nutshell, right? Is that line right there? Though I must defeat you, allow me to praise you first.
勘違いするでないぞ。今だけだ。世とて負けっぱなしではない。その気になればすぐに追い抜くのだからな。アルテラ、貴様なぜ笑う？
Right.
いや、言い直すぞ。何を楽しんでいる？
It does look like Altera is enjoying this. That's why I can't help but think there must be something human about her. Despite being powerful enough to embody the destructive will of an entire planet, she feels something. She enjoys something. I sense that she has the same feelings as us. She's gonna be so there like, me? Smile? I wouldn't smile for anything. Must be stoic and angry all the time.
世はまだ貴様に破壊されてはいないぞ。
確かに、その通りだ。お前は私に破壊されてはいないし、そればかりか。笑っている。
本当だとも。鏡を見て確かめるがよい。だが、敵を追い詰めることが快感なのか、戦う相手がいることが嬉しいのか、どうなのだ？
決まっている。敵を追い詰め、蹂躙するのが私の意味だ。私になすすべのないお前の苦しみをこそ、私が望むものに他ならない。だが、笑うなんてありえない。だって鏡と言ったな、セイバー。いいだろう。
Yeah, relatable.
鏡ぐらいなら私のマイルームにだってあるはずだ。私は違うはずだ。人のような機能はない。
何？本当に見に行くやつがあるか。こら。
This is the third time now that Altera has not finished off Nero.
なんという遊びの効かない性格か。次に会う時が猶予の終わりだと、そう言ったのは貴様ではないか。
Okay, another Bond conversation, and we should be able to move on to stage 5 finally.
まで乗り込んでくるとは、油断も隙もあったものではないな。まったく。入浴時と場所を選ばぬあやつの行動。アルテラも焦っているのかもしれんな。
All of these options seem really silly. She's worried you're becoming a threat. That's probably the most correct one to pick. Obviously, this one is silly. She wanted to steal your mirror. I'm gonna go with this one, obviously.
ない話ではないが、やはり正々堂々国取りの中であやつを倒したい。世の皇帝としてのプライド、誇りの問題ゆえな。 まあアルテラのマイルームには興味がある。一度見てみたいものだ。
She doesn't have much of a room, unfortunately. We'll see that much later as well.
要はやつのことをどうしてもそうじゃよ。その好きかもはどういう意味か。
She gets mad when we accuse her of liking Altera.
そうなった。クールビューティーも好みなのか。
All of us do. I mean,
悔しいがしなやかさという点でアルテラ目の主体はよう上回る。よだって黄金比で引けや取らぬ。あやつよりグラマーだしな。
okay. Anyway, where were we? Okay, stage 5. So this is Altera's territory that's been taken over. Oh, it's been a while since I've done one of these maps. What do we have? Oh, we have ice and we have ice, fire, and electricity as the sector traps here. So we should be good as far as that goes. We're going to encounter a Iskander, I'm going to show his whole intro sequence here. I skipped it last time, but taking him out will get us some points early on here and allow us to access the, what am I trying to say? Part of this sector was gated off. Meanwhile, Gilgamesh is out here just kind of laying waste to other parts of the of this map. So I think Gilgamesh is super powered here and keeps transitioning to different parts of this map. So we need to go where Gilgamesh is and defeat him. But we'll deal with the Iskander first. Again, I'm very wary of those airborne sentinel things. Archer telling me about potential damage. Cool. Full Extella maneuver gauge there from that sake pot thing, which came in handy at perfect time there. Just go ahead and light up Iskander. Dump all the points into it, which should actually take out the other two aggressors as well. Hopefully if I can deal with them. Okay, that was a good hit. Really good combo. He's going to use his Moon Drive now. But he's so low in health, it shouldn't matter too much. We just have to not get killed by him. And then we should be able to transition to where Gilgamesh is before he takes over that sector and runs away. The other thing, too, that's nice is that... so Jean is also trying feebly to take a sector up there. She's doing her best, even if her best is not very good. Okay. Should be able to take him out now. Alright. Iskander's defeated. Let's go ahead and... Oh, Gilgamesh transitioned out. That's unfortunate. How do I want to get up there? I guess I'll just go this way. Some of these sectors are very confusing to navigate because this map is very dark and colorless, and so it's a stark contrast from the rest of this game that is very bright and colorful and easy to navigate. So you just kind of have to pay attention to your mini-map there. Alright. Been dreading this. Alright, so Gilgamesh. He is super powered here, which is unfortunate, but he's not... his damage is not, like, extremely buffed, but we need to deal with him in order to... I missed him, unfortunately, but we'll still hit him with the AoE attack. We need to deal with him to prevent him from basically just laying waste to all of our RC's territory. We already did some decent damage to him with that, but he won't... Oh, that was... I have a sliver of health left. Holy crap. That was a... I give that a yikes out of 10. I lost my train of thought there because I almost died. I guess I'll just go ahead and use one of my heals. It couldn't hurt. Alright, we lost some territory, which is irritating. I really just don't want to take any chances with him. I just want to go ahead and do another Extella maneuver, get some more damage into him, and hope he teleports out. Yeah, his friggin' chains are just ridiculous here. Of course, we got a couple of yakisoba bread spawns in there, which was useful. It's funny, the aggressors are actually, like, knocking him back, which is really funny as well. Okay. Okay. He teleported out, which is good. We should be able to mop up the rest of these aggressors, no problem. We saved this sector from being taken over. I'm going to go deal with Jean now, as much as I would rather get this middle sector here because of how many points it's worth. Not having a servant trying to blitzkrieg into my sectors is going to really come in handy. So we'll go ahead and of course, Jean is super squishy, so we can just deal with her easily. I'm going to go ahead and fire off the Extella maneuver just to get that AoE attack in and deal with those airborne sentinel enemies really quick. Hit her with the beam blade, and she's already almost dead. Like, you can see just the sheer difference in how much health she has compared to Iskander or any of them. The other thing that sucks about playing as her, too, is the fact that I'm actually going to go ahead and use the Extella maneuver again, because I don't want those other aggressors to kill my aggressor and end up taking the sector for themselves, because that's just going to pose a problem. I don't think it's ever happened before where I've had a sector get taken from me while I'm in it. So I don't actually know what happens when that happens. Even though Jean is squishy, she is using her moon drive here, and we are playing on the hardest difficulty, so that can still pose a problem. If I don't act quickly here, she's likely to fire off her moon drive again, but we should be able to just kill her with the beam blade. Alright, mop up these two guys really easily. Yeah, my aggressor was like right about to die there too. Okay, so we're good. We fought back. Jean. And then no! You son of a... Wow! Right as that happened, Gilgamesh blitzkriegs into this sector. So we're going to go ahead and use Mooncrux and deal with him that way. It might be our best bet of being able to deal good damage to him while he's super powered as well. Oh yeah, crazy damage to him. Gilgamesh, you may have all the weapons. Yep, we lost the sector and we get knocked up into the air just like the enemies do. And it comes complete with a sector trap already. A fire one which we can't block. But thankfully it deals negligible damage to us when we have Moon Drive enabled. Gilgamesh, you may have all the weapons in the world, but you do not have the regalia. Alright, that should be good enough. Oh man, he's so close to beating him for good there. Taking our sector back. Eating some bread and some sake, which is very fitting for Nero. I guess I'm going to go ahead and take this sector we happen to be close to. Again, there's like weird walls and weird barriers around these sectors here, which make it kind of difficult to navigate. So I think we have an ice, which we can block here, ice sector trap, which we can block no problem. Nero is very grateful that we did so. Yeah, this, I was mentioning how this map is difficult to navigate before. It's especially difficult to navigate when, like I said, it's so dark and colorless. And if you're playing on the Vita version or if you're playing the Switch version in handheld mode, it's especially difficult to navigate. Plus, the attack programs on Altera's team are very difficult to see. So sometimes you can't pick out the enemy aggressors on the in the silhouette of the enemies there. I'm gonna skip this sector. I want to get to where Gilgamesh is again. Hopefully this will actually kill him for good. We only need one more point to get our regime matrix completed, which will bring us to the final confrontation with Altera. Where are you at? Oh, he's not here after all, but we do have this plan. Maybe he is done. I love the sound design in this game compared to the sequel, because there's so many cool little sound effects that just sound really cool. So like there's, yeah, we're gonna take that. Nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll get some, maybe we'll get a bento box spawn. I'll take the yakisoba bread. But like the sound when a plant spawns in, it's this really kind of shocking, like startling sound effect for a plant. And then the plant itself, oh no! No! These, I hate these things so much. These are the worst aggressors in the game, these sword-looking dudes. I'm just gonna fire off my Extella maneuver. I don't even care. It's also fire elemental, which is really random. Okay, we killed it, no problem. Those things are just impossible to hit, and they can get you stun-locked really easily. Looks like we completed the regime matrix, and Gilgamesh didn't come back, so maybe that was the last of his health there. Now we have to find the portal to Altera. And I should probably get the last Cipher Key before I do. I think it's on the same area of the map. Oh, nope, the portal at Askra. We'll just go through now, so we can get the last piece from her when she tries to fire off her own Noble Phantasm, and we'll be able to use our Moon Drive. Me every day at work. Allow me to explain how deeply wrong you are.
間違っている。我が敵、我が苛立ち、我が憎悪。花の形をした炎よ。ならば今、この瞬間だけはお前の声に応えよう。聞くがいい。我が神明、我が遍歴を。私はアルテラ。マルスの剣を滑る戦士にして。
She holds her sword high as she declares herself. Whatever her history with the Umbral Star might be, she still looks like a proud, heroic spirit. A smile is on her face, just like the one on Saber's. A sword is made to destroy. Simply touching one can strip away flesh. A solid swing can hack through meat and bone. But even so, when I see these two heroic spirits, women who've lived by the sword, facing each other for the future of this place, the way they guard themselves from each other, not only their flesh, but their resolve, it's too beautiful. Swoon over the ladies with swords. So I guess that claim earlier was correct, that the Attila the Hun did bring the demise of Western Rome. For a time being, at least. But she's like, that name has no meaning for me anymore.
不運最強の戦士が相手とあらば文句はない。世はローマ帝国第5代皇帝ネロ・クラウディウス。オリンピアの喝采も道女の祝福もないが、この地、この時こそ至高の舞台。貴様のいてついた魂、我が剣で焼き直してくれる。
Alright, time for the boss battle against Altera. So she's pretty tough. I mean, she's very trigger happy with her Noble Phantasm, which is a problem. But luckily, we can counter that by hitting her quickly and on time, and then we'll get that key for ourselves to be able to use against her. Other than that, I'm not really too worried about the majority of her attacks because Nero is slightly faster, but doesn't quite hit as hard. Again, this is going to be more of a... Oh, okay, here she goes. I mentioned earlier how Altera, in spite of the fact that... oh, she's going to be much, much faster now with her Moon Drive enabled, but... Altera does not have a Moon Crux Regalia form change transformation mode like Nero and Tamamo do. So she just has regular Moon Drive like every other servant in the game when she uses her gauge. I'm going to go ahead and fire off the Extella maneuver here. I really don't like that all of these regular attack programs around us are poison-based as well, which it's just making me a little bit nervous. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, she can kill us pretty quickly. Okay, she's going to use her normal Phantasm. Alright, we get the key, which is cool. And then she just transitions right into Moon Drive again, so we're going to have to use ours. Again, she'll probably survive this, but we can tank a lot of damage because damage is reduced significantly when you are in your Regalia Moon Crux form change thing. May have to... Yeah, I'll use one of my code casts to heal with. I still have 3 of them left. I'm not exactly worried about it. Some more damage on her. Yeah, she's much, much tankier than the other servants we fought. Okay, she should be in kill range. Let's go ahead and fire off our Noble Phantasm. It would add a whole nother level of skill if the enemy servant could do the same to you. Where, let's say they hit you while you're trying to fire off yours and they could take your key back from you. That would add a whole nother level of skill to it, but unfortunately that's not the case. Man, Nero is almost level 60. It's crazy. And she'll continue to level too because we have to... Spoilers, we have to play as her again later in the game. Unfortunately, her... irritatingly enough, her side missions are not showing up anymore. Maybe there's like certain conditions to get... Like once you hit level 28 in your bond level, there are certain conditions that have to be met to get you from 28 to 30. I'll have to look that up, but I'll have to check and see... 28's pretty good. It's close to where we need to be. And then when we play as Tamamo here soon, we'll be able to put some levels into her bond level as well. Artoria is almost there. Artoria is at level 26 now. Cool, so we do get to see her Noble Phantasm here, even though she didn't get to use it in the battle. 我を呪え空うがつは涙の星ティアドロップフォトンレイ終わりだローマの皇帝よ許せサーバントでは私を倒せない文明は命は奪いたくはない私には So it's almost like Altera envies Nero's drive to live by her own wishes, to live on her own, on behalf of her own interests, and to be, you know, indulgent with worldly, physical desires, you know what I mean? It's like she's like, you are this glutton that indulges in all of these trivial human enjoyment, like, you know, being in love and having people that worship you, and Altera's just like, I low-key salty because destruction, and destruction's all she knows. こんな身勝手なサーバントを信じ
頼ってくれるものに巡り会えたのだ。我がマスターが目を背けぬ限りこの命を包む輝きは消え去らない。たとえ世の霊気が一桁になろうとも。
But yeah, this track right here is what's missing from the CD soundtrack of the game, if I didn't make that clear before. It plays in the game, but it's not on the published CD version at all for whatever reason. Loud, triumphant Umu. Yeah, we already saw you do this a second ago. But this is like a special cutscene version of it too, where it's just her, no other attack programs around, and she gets to kind of talk to her. And Altera seems captivated by it, which is adorable. Look at that stained glass! Altera's movements stop, though her guard remains strong and ready. This new arena has clearly enraptured her. The image of the Golden Theater, and this lone woman at center stage with sword in hand. It's captured Altera's heart, her human heart. Saber knows that. As terrifying a menace as Altera is, she can be made to recognize her own humanity. That's why Saber was so fixated on settling the score in a one-on-one battle. She respects Altera as a worthy and powerful foe. Altera would have no idea who she was if she saw herself in the mirror, so Saber took it upon herself to be the mirror. What kind of person is heroic spirit Altera? What does she look like? How does she live? How do others see her? And...
いささか無理をした。よう一人では無理だった。感謝するぞ、マスター。そなたはいつも世が一番欲しいものをくれるのだな。
痛烈だ。これほど
She's like, sounds like a good time for a nap.
私が破れ去った時以来だ。溢れる星の光ではない。人が持つ一条の光。そして、ああ、美しいものを私は見た。黄金の劇場とそこで舞うお前。
貴様もだ、アルテラ。我らは命を削り合い、心をぶつけ合い、共に待った。まあ、手を取りながらとはいかなかったのは反省すべき点ではあるが。
そうか。私もお前と待ったのか。私は初めて誰かと待ったのだな。
The third Hakano Kishinami steps out next to Altera. The same face as me, the same appearance as me. Nothing needs to be said between us. Just like with Castor's version of me. And in just the same way, this version of me stands over the fallen servant, meaning to protect her no matter what. I'm a master sworn to fight alongside the servant who joined me.
私のマスター。いけない。指輪から出ては危険。お前を守れ なく
守るか。やっと本音が出たな、アルテラ。貴様は旅衆として奏者を扱っていたと言ったが、キャスターと、いやこの世と同じくして貴様もまた奏者のサーバントであったのだな。
何を言う。私はマスターが必要だっただけだ。
この後に及んで白々しい。キャスターといい貴様といい、最後には塩らしくなりよって。世をそんなに悪役にしたいか。冗談ではないぞ。世は暴君ではあったが、やぼて。
Just as I thought. Saber and I must have felt the same thing, just as in the confrontation with Castor.
事情は後で聞く。今は敗者として世の言葉を聞け。アルテラ、これよりのちは貴様も世の臣民となれ。本来であれば無理にでもレガリアを奪い、三位のうち肉体を司る奏者としばらくの間、貴様は捕虜であり客人だ。
いや、それは。
そうとも、それは不可能でしょう。レガリアの所有者はあなた一人でなくてはいけません。それは月の聖杯戦争を経て確定された事実。サーバンとセイバー、あなただけがセラフの神王であらせられる。
わざわざ顔を出すとはな。それほどまでにレガリアの統合を望むか。
レガリアの統合、そうですね。ああ、そういうことにしていましたね。
何？
キャスターの排除は当然の結果です。あなたにはそれだけの実績と能力がある。その後、アルテラ撃退は不確定だった。十中八九あなたはアルテラには。
He's like, look, I'm good at this math stuff. I did the math. The odds are not in your favor. This should not have happened.
できないとはこのことですね。本当にアルテラとの戦いで生き残るとは。これが最弱から最強に至ったものの揺らぎですか。いや、吐き気がするほど見事でした。ムーンセルオートマトンより正しき王権の所有者として選出されただけのことはある。計算上、理論上、ムーンセルはベルバーには対抗できない。ムーンセルはその事実を知りながら覆せない。故に自身にはない特性を持つ者に戦う権利を譲った。インベーダーにはイノベーターを、反則には特例を当て未知の未来を呼び寄せようとしているのです。まったく自身の行く末を賭け事のように扱うとは。
Why is he looking at me like that?
さて、見事セラフ統一を果たされた神王に快進撃はここで終わりです。あなたとあなたのマスターはいささか勝ちすぎた。
はあ、勝利しろと言ったのは貴様だろうに。世がアルテラに倒されない、あるいは世がアルテラを殺さないことがよほど想定外だったと見えるな。
まったくもって、そのアルテラが英霊程度の霊気に落ちているとはいえ、制したのは素直に感動しました。ですが、とどめを刺さず、アマツさえ親民に迎え入れるなんて結末は論外です。らしいといえばらしいですが、やりすぎですよ、可愛らしい皇帝陛下。
その姿、そ の文様アルキメデス。作詞最小にありがちな権力者を潰し合わせて権力総取りですよ。
And at last Archimedes reveals his true intentions.
貴様、そこまで直球だったのか。病を治すべきシステム管理者がまず真っ先に感染しているとは。
いやいや、まったく皇帝陛下の言葉は奔放のようでいていたですが、これが真実です。ご覧の通り。
The visual effect around his corrupted part is pretty cool, I will say that.
権力を欲するのなら与えたものを。二度目はないと言ったぞ、白草のアルキメデス。
二度目ではないのです。正しくはこれこそが一度目の嘘でしょうね。
Yeah, he's told her the truth pretty much through and through with
そ
this.
して麗しい。こうして敵になったあなたは私を尊敬し偶したいとまだ思っている。敵であろうと認め肯定しようとするあなたの性質はだが、それが私にはこの上なく不愉快なのだよ。敵と分かり不要と分かり消去することが最善と理解していながらなお完成するべきだった人間という知性体、それを欠陥品に貶めたもの、好き嫌いなどという感情を優先し当然の結果を変動させるその人間性こ
ああ、好き嫌いは良くないと。そういう貴様こそよう憎んでいるようだが。
ええ、もちろん私も含めて人間は不出来ですよ。ですがあなたほどカオスでもない。私はあなたを嫌っていますが、計画に必要な人材なので重宝したでしょう。つまり目的のために自身の感情を流したのです。目的は明白なのに感情を優先してその過程をねじ曲げ違う結果にたどり着くカリスマと呼ばれるものなのでしょう。まさにあなたはレガリアを持つにふさわしい英霊だった。実に気高い、実に美しい。青のキャスターと殺し合うかと思えばあのような結末を導き、そして今はアルテラまで下してみせた。余分だ、余分すぎる。目に余るほどの過剰摂取、おぞましいほどの上昇無敗。セラフの統一を果たしたことは称賛しよう。だがどうあってもお前たちはセイバーは砕け、レガリアは砕け、セラフは砕け、やがてはそう地球上の文明と生命の全てが砕かれる。美しきものも醜きものも輝けるものも暗きものも愛も絆も魂も肉体も精神もあらゆる全て、ベルバーの到来に際しては捕食される。それが当然の結末だ。
Archimedes? A traitor. I still can't believe it. When did he turn and why? How did he come across so sincerely before when he saved me back then? Was that a lie? Was it part of his plan?
さあ、破壊の時ですよ、アルテラ。英霊の、いえ、人間の真似事はもう十分でしょう。なんであれ、夢は覚めるもの。この名と共に目を覚ますがいい。優勢の真なる化身、セファールよ。
I like the little dots in her eyes there. It's a really cool effect.
だからもう破壊はしない。アルテラ、己アルティメデス、何をした。あの美しい文様が台無しではないか。
問題視するのはそこですか。 最後まであなたとは価値観が合いませんでしたね。そもそもあの星の紋章は格落ちしたスキル。これこそ本来の形。
Yeah, so they mentioned this in the encyclopedia for the game, the index that's in the game itself, like in the options menu. But Altera's white markings, her body tattoos, are called Star Symbol, and it's basically an imprint from Velber.
であればこそ愛に焦がれ絆を求めて苦悶するまでもない。こうして真なる形態を導いてやるまでのこと。さあ見るがいい。そして砕けよ。
Whatever it is, it's gigantic. It's channeling a terrifying amount of mana. Its very existence gives off tremendous power, or tremendous pressure. However I turn my head, my eyes can't take it all in all at once. This being is so huge it nearly defies comprehension. A human silhouette. When did I start to recognize her individual features? When she first made her entrance? When her surroundings fell apart? When she turned her glowing red eyes towards me? The eyes, yes. It was when I looked into her eyes. Yeah, because she's remembering the, Hakuno's remembering the beginning where, the eyes stared at her from the darkness when she split into three. As she screams, space itself seems to tremble. The sound is inhuman, unearthly. If a black hole could call out, this is what it would sound like. It's the sound of hunger, so primal, so tremendous that it resounds across the infinite void of space. The world is breaking. The Titan's scream alone is shaking Seraph apart. She truly is the king of destruction.
見るがいい。これだ。サーバント程度の霊気には収まらぬ質量。知性によって作られたものすべてを破壊し、自らの質量に変換し成長し続ける巨神。まさに星を平らにするために作られたもの。今の人類でこれが御せるか。いや、何者もあらがう。
Zephyr.
絶望さえも砕き尽くす。これこそが
I wonder how many times he'll say that throughout this game.
アルタミラの石碑に残された災害、砂漠に眠るセファールの巨人。これが月すらも滅ぼす異様そのもの。
She's glaring at me. She's coming after both of us. Even now, as I look into those two great lights, I know she sees us. I know she recognizes us. And we have her full attention. The White Titan stands and roars. She reaches out towards us with her huge right hand. I've seen this before somewhere. Of course, in the Moon Cell core. My memories of the attack are still in pieces, but I remember the sheer scale of the attacker, the enemy who split me into three. There's no doubt now the White Titan can only be the same being. And now here it is again, in front of me, ready to finish the job. I like the void in her hands and in her stomach there. Like, when it doesn't have the Konami orb, hey, please attack me here, button, then it's like space itself is inside there. It's rushing at me now. It's coming. It's here. In a flash, it fills my vision. I can't get away. It's too big, too fast. It'll catch me. I know it will. It always does. It already has. Can't fight, can't run, can't even beg. It's got me. It's tearing out my thoughts. My consciousness is flying apart. I try to hold on to something, anything I can, any image, any memory, anything at all. Pieces of the past glitter at me, like a mirror shattering in slow motion. I see battles. We're fighting Castor's army, or is it Altera's army? I don't know. All I can do is stare out at whatever I can see. And then for just a moment, I see a golden flame. And a smile. I remember her. I remember myself. I am Hakuno Kishinami, and I am the sword in her hand. Her name from deep inside. I scream it out to the void. Alright, time for the final battle against the White Titan Zephyr, which there's a lot to unpack about Archimedes' whole motivation. God, I love that visual effect there with her hands. It looks so cool. There's a lot to unpack as far as, like, what Altera truly is, what Zephyr truly is, Archimedes' motivations, you know, what he did here exactly. But a lot of that will not be unpacked until the later routes. So for now, we pretty much just have to fight this final battle against her and let the Flame Poem arc come to an end. And that's going to be about it for this time. God, even her body, like the blue part of her skin, has that space effect as well. That's so cool. I wish I could tell her. There's still so much we don't know, especially about Altera. All we do know right now is what's in front of us, in all its massive glory. So beautiful, so powerful. Her roar is tearing everything apart. Compared to this, her army is nothing. She could shred entire territories at will. She's not even bothered with us anymore. She's just destroying everything she sees. She sweeps with her arm and everything breaks. She sends out her light and everything burns. As long as she exists, nothing else can. I see the third Hakano Kishinami standing on her shoulder, in the midst of this fury and destruction. Destruction. Is that really all she has? The scene around her certainly suggests it. I'd expect she'd have broken or consumed the third me by now. Then again, it looks like she still might. Her version of me is drawn to her destructive spirit. But as I see that, I know that no matter what I might feel for her, nothing, not even love, is going to snap her out of it. She'll destroy that love. It's what she does. I feel a wave. The other me gives a long, horrible croaking sound. I hear it over the rest of the noise. I've already experienced something similar. I almost thought I was used to it, but here it is again. And now I know the reason for it. The third me, the body, is breaking down in Altera's presence. Someone said that the body is an empty shell, a case to mold the mind and soul. But even the body has a personality attached to it. It senses and grows and remembers. The destruction reverberates towards me, into me, and my mind begins to shake. I think it's too late for negotiating, Nero. I don't say anything. This is her decision. It's up to her if she wants to fight or retreat. That last battle drained us both. If she's up for another one now, from a rational standpoint, we're at a deep disadvantage. Would it even be possible to win in our state? I don't answer that, and I don't repeat it to Saber. But I do make my own decision. I know what I won't do. I won't give up. Saber didn't give up when she faced Altera's light, and neither will I. Not while I'm with her. We'll keep on fighting until our last spark goes out. Her fire both warms and burns, enlightens and destroys, prospers and sputters away, all of it fueled by her passion and love. This happens in both this route and in Tamamo's route, where the servant becomes kind of introspective as this final battle is about to unfold, where they're like, wow, this really is happening, isn't it? And I kind of akin these scenes almost to like in Fate Zero, where the servants have a lot of self-reflecting to do, and they're like, wow, I kind of am a horrible person. And it's interesting that they choose this moment of all times to have this this revelation, but it is what it is.
ならばここで引く道理はないな。手を取ってくれ奏者よ。絶望も凱旋もそなたと共に通り過ぎよ。思えば貴様の剣はマルスの名を冠するものだが、あいにくだったな。世のお気に入りはヴィナスだ。敬う柱には程遠い。行くぞ巨神アルテラ。正真正銘これが最後の戦いだ。
Okay, so time for the final battle against Titan Altera, the White Titan Zephyr. So basically, we have some redundant attack programs just kind of chilling around here. We could attack them if we wanted to, but basically we have to wait for her to do an attack where she leaves one of her hands on the ground vulnerable like so. Whoops, or she'll just kill us. So the hand is what we have to attack here, and once we deal enough damage to that, we have access to her core. So it's pretty straightforward. It's not all that difficult at all. She does have some pretty nasty attacks, such as the sword. Oh, and I just got smacked. We will take a death there. I feel like the camera angle of the lock-on is a little bit different than what I'm used to with this fight. Okay, oh, ooh, that's not good. We can in theory also use the Extella maneuver there. I don't know why I'm not... I almost forget what my strategy is for this fight because it's been such a long time since I've fought. All of my other like level grinding and stuff. Okay, that's pretty good. Both her hands are down. Okay, core is exposed. She's gonna fall down here. We'll go ahead and fire off our Extella maneuver and get all of it, as much damage as we possibly can on it in one go here. This fight is not particularly difficult, but on the hardest difficulty, I'm sure it'll find a way to it'll find a way to keep us on the ropes there. Oh, really? None of that dealt any damage? I guess we had to wait for Archer to be like, yeah, you can totally attack her core now. We'll fire off our moon drive here and go for it. Okay, that's enough for that. Unfortunately, that's probably going to be all we get to use our moon drive for, aside from tanking some damage here. Maybe it'll last long enough where we can hit her hand a little bit more. Alright, sweet. I appreciate that. Nice! I think we got a fast cycle on her by doing that. That's really freaking cool. That, some good damage. Alright, now let's see if the Extella maneuver does any damage to the core. And obviously, like any boss battle, she's going to have different attacks that she uses based on what phase we're in and things like that. I think after she recovers from half health, she gets particularly aggressive and goes on a series of attacks we have to avoid. Yeah, here we go. So we're just gonna have to dodge her for a bit. Again, I probably need to make sure I'm at full health, so I'll be probably pretty liberal with my code casts here. Yeah, she just broke away the platform there. Yeah, I'll go ahead and heal that off again. She's got little laser blasts that'll hit the ground there, which we can kind of avoid where they land by the little circles on the ground. Pretty straightforward boss design, honestly, but still well done. I don't think it's a poorly made boss by any stretch of the imagination. I should probably go ahead and grind off of these guys to get... Oh, I just got a sake thing for a full refill of my Extella maneuver, so I guess I don't have to worry about that too much. And as you can see, as I've demonstrated plenty of times throughout this game already, you can pretty much dash infinitely in the air. You only decay your trajectory slightly. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to heal that off. I forgot she shot waves out of that. I thought I was going to be able to attack her hands there. I hope I didn't just waste my moon drive there. There we go. Okay. Get some good damage in. We should be able to get to her core on this cycle. Okay. I think we did it. Bring it on in. Bring it on in, big girl. We got this. Almost there. Oh, okay. Not quite. Another cycle. Oh my god. Well, I guess they did a good job of making this fight more difficult on the hardest difficulty. Either that or I'm just extremely rusty at it and forgot what the basic strategy was. You have to do this fight a total of 4 times throughout the game. You have to do it for the first 3 routes, and then you have to do it again for Archimedes. Oh my god! I don't want to take a death here, guys. It's the last command seal. Well, if there's ever a time to burn our command seals, it would be this fight, I guess. Oh, you know what, too? I can use my Noble Phantasm no matter where her core is, and it will still damage it. So I could have just fired off my Noble Phantasm before. I didn't realize we accumulated any points towards it. Okay, we're good. Okay. We win. Probably overkill, but who cares? Wow, okay. So I praised myself on how quickly I can get through this game, just through the gameplay itself, but playing on the hardest difficulty combined with reading literally all of the dialogue put the Flame Poem arc at about 5 hours when you combine this stream with the previous stream, and that's pretty long. I don't know that I like that. But we did it. We are now a quarter of the way through the game. Time seems to stand still. Saber's final strike reaches the Titan Altera's chest. Strange as it might be, I could only see the beauty in that moment. A woman in red piercing a goddess in white. This is no simple duel, it's a reenactment of a great myth. A Titan's rampage halted by human courage. A giant falls, and a human rises. An image from a forgotten miracle 14,000 years old. The shine of it all is breathtaking. There is no malice in her strike, no hatred, only bravery and resolve. My heart swells with pride and love. But at the same moment, my heart feels a twisting ache, too. Pain, suffering, sorrow, resignation. Not my own, but the other Hakuno Kishinami's. Proud as I am of Saber, I also pity Altera. But the blow has been struck. It's over. The giant goddess crumbles. Its digital body, made to walk upon Seraph, is lost, as are its mind and soul. With its mana gone, it falls away in a rain of inorganic wreckage. What had moments ago been a mighty titan now scatters into piles of debris. There, I see something, a face I know all too well, my own. The third Hakuno Kishinami is standing there in the midst of the raining rubble, knowing full well what it's seeing. You couldn't bring out your true power, Altera, so I'll do what I need you to do. I hear a voice in the storm, a voice only two of them were meant to share. She looks up at her, only the two of them were meant to share. She looks at her servant's face as it cracks. A torrent of ruin comes crashing down towards the other me. I stretch out my hand, but I can't reach her. I try to shout, but she can't hear. She's too far away. The debris is too loud. It's too late. Even Saber can't reach far enough. In a moment of clarity, I understand that nothing can be done. Hakuno Kishinami, Altera's master, has lived a life I know nothing about. She doesn't try to run, she lets the debris wash over her and take her away. It's her decision, and I understand.
セイバーではこういった結末になるのか。3人目のレガリア所持者が消える。最後に精神だけが残る。サーバントではない。マスターであるお前をこそ真なるレガリア所持者とムーンセルは選んだ。だが消える。ああして肉体が消えた以上は、これぞ正しい痛み分けですね。私はセファールを失った。ベルバーを正しく太陽系に導くビーコンであったあの怪物を。まったくそう簡単にはいかないだろうと自分に言い聞かせていましたが、分かっていても憂鬱ですね。これで一からやり直さないといけなくなった。
アルキメデス貴様、許さぬぞ。弱き様だけは許しておかぬ。アルテラは戦いをこそ求めたが、それを貴様は。
おやめなさい。英霊としてのアルテラと戦い、セファールと戦ったあなたでは無理だ。
We can still take you on, you're nothing.
アルテラの宝具に耐えた際、レガリアの王権を随分と酷使もした。最後の力さえ、今いかに情熱だ愛だと歌ったところで、燃やすものがないのなら増票以下だ。私が手を振るうまでもない。それとも死にたいのですか？あなたのマスターはじき消える。それに準じるというのなら悔しいのでしょうね。それは私も同じです。心底から頭痛がする。セファールが消滅した今、ベルバーはこの太陽系へのルートを見失った。ここに餌があると発信する者がいなくなってしまった以上。
何？では優勢とやらはもう。
ああ、ムーンセルは賭けに勝った。セファールそのものを滅ぼす目があるとは。
逃げるのか、アルキメデス。
逃げる？戦えばお前たちを皆殺しにできるというのに。言葉は正しく使うのだな。私は帰るだけだ。
Pay close attention to the here in quotes there. That's extremely relevant.
あと数時間で未明事象の保管地点クォンタムタイムロックがかかってしまう。その前に次の仕事に移動しなくては。君は勝利したが選択を誤った。その対価をもう覆らない未来で払うがいい。私はこの世界から消滅する。ここでは叶わなかったが、レガリアの完全なる破壊とムーンセル中枢の陥落を。
待て！
無駄だ。 疲弊したレガリアでは私のスライドは阻めない。
スライドだと
Archimedes disappears, leaving us with doubt and questions. We're safe now, but Saber is trembling with rage, not only because he escaped, but because we've hit our limit. How do I express this feeling? A deep hole within my chest. A lightness in my head? No, it's not quite either of those. How can I explain what it feels like when your body is missing? I can see that I have appendages, but it feels as if I don't. This shell around me is still here, but it feels as if I've drifted away. I'm here, yet I don't exist. It's like being a shadow. I'm slipping away now, all of me. I'm aware of the pain, unbearable pain, and yet I can't quite feel it. I know what to call this feeling now. What it's closest to is loss.
Sosha! Sosha! なんという顔色か。ダメだ。瞳を閉じるな。そなたの手、こんなに冷たい。嫌だ。世は嫌だぞ。そうじゃ。許さぬ。瞳を閉じるな。まだ精神のそなたはあるのだ。だからまだ。それにレガリアは一つだけが残ったのだから。だからまだ終わってはいないのだ。
She's right. Everything will be okay as long as she's near me. But Archimedes may have been right about what happens when the body disappears. Maybe there are laws of this world even higher than hers. I don't want to give up, but my eyes are so heavy, if they even exist. Saber, don't worry. You won't be alone. I just need a little rest. It's okay. Don't worry. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Golden Poem arc. Or, sorry, the Flame Poem arc. The Golden Poem arc is the last one. Man, I don't know what I'm in for here. We're only a quarter of the way through the game, and it only gets better from here. So, unfortunately, next up is the Orchid Worlds arc, which is Tamamo's route. And it is probably going to be the most challenging from a gameplay standpoint because Tamamo plays the poorest out of the three main servants. She, being a caster class, does not have the offensive capabilities or the quick, powerful movement that the Saber class servants do. So it's going to be a little bit tricky, and she's a much lower level than Nero was. So Nero was able to deal with all of those problems pretty quickly, whereas Tamamo is going to have a hard time, especially against other servants. It's going to be pretty difficult. Same thing with Altera, but Altera at least has a better moveset. This is so sad.
それでな、まさかのことが起きたのだぞ。王権の修復がなされたのだ。これにより、世は真にセラフの神王として認められた。そうとも、認められたのだ。修復された王権を持ち、そなたの精神は復活した。やがて今なおどこかにいるはずの魂と喜ぶがよい。天皇体は
A voice. I can hear a voice, clear and resonant like a golden bell. The unforgettable voice of a balletic swordswoman, a gracious, loving ruler.
再生したのだ。そなたは。だから、もう目覚めてもよいのだ。よ、目覚めて、起き上がって。ほら、今にも世に笑いかける。これまでのような前のめりさはやや減って、ちょっとじれったい。いつもの奏者が戻ってくる。聞こえておろう？奏者。世も良いのだぞ。いつでも目覚めよ。そしていつか来たる魔の打ち倒してくれよ。奏者、世が共に戦うのはうまい。
She's right. We belong on the battlefield side by side. I should open my eyes. She deserves a smile. Sorry to keep you waiting, I should tell her. How long did I sleep this time? Just for a day, I hope. Anything longer, she might want to punish me. A week? A month? Any more than that, I'll never be able to apologize. I've left her alone all this time, or at least made her feel that way. What can I do to help her forgive me?
奏者よ、そろそろ目覚めてもよいのだぞ。世は特にそなたには寛大なのだ。すべて許す。だから。
So my interpretation of that ending, and maybe I'm wrong, but my interpretation of that ending was always that the red Hakuno just fades away. And so Nero is just like grief-stricken and trying to get her back, even though she's just essentially comatose forever. And so I don't think what her saying about her, like, reuniting her with her soul or finding a new body is true. I think that that's a honest and true, like, a bad end for the game. But that's okay, because we have 2 more of those to go before we get to an actual good end. So, on that note, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time with the Orchid Worlds arc.